All right. We are here. It is Rap Latte. It's King Green here.
Toure here, and the man Curtis King in the building. What's up?
Hey, feeling green today. Just feeling good.
But feeling green. We are wearing green. It feels good.
Hey, man.
It feels good to see the winning color.
Cinco de Mayo. I don't know what that has to do with green, but Cinco de Mayo.
We was just touching base on how Curtis feels about entering the post-LeBron era of the LA Lakers. You know you have a big transition ahead of you.
Okay, first of all, we shouldn't talk about people like they're no longer here anymore. He's still a Laker. He's still active. Has about 2 more years at least.
You don't think he's going to play 2 more seasons in purple and gold?
For sure.
No.
One more to play with both of his sons. They'll be both Lakers and he'll exit out. As the Lakers hang up the next banner.
He's gonna have 2 more just so he get his sons in there.
He gonna do what LeVar Ball was trying to do. He gonna get all his sons in there. Though.
Either he's gonna retire or he's gonna want to play in another city for 1 more year for whatever reason. I don't know why. I'd rather he doesn't have that circus year where he plays with a shit team and but you know,
it's your legacy.
He's still a top 10 player. I don't know why you're disrespecting this gentleman.
I'm not disrespecting him. You're not wrong. But if you run the Lakers,
top 5 maybe. All right.
And he's a first option on the Lakers. He's a second option on the Lakers.
Well, but if you run the Lakers, you need to move forward, and you are a first round team with him. You got to move on from him. Get in the new blood, somebody in their 20s who can match with Luka and grow with Luka into your next West Coast juggernaut. But there's not a future with LeBron, so you're sinking a lot of money into something that's
okay. You're talking long-term front office talk. I get you. I see what you're saying. So you're trying to get rid of him before.
That's why I'm not disrespecting him. I'm saying the Lakers got to move on from him, and they understand that. I don't know if the fan base understands that, but the front office understands that.
I did not.
He makes money now.
I did not anticipate coming here to be in the middle of this Celtic sandwich, but y'all have placed me very strategically in the middle of this video right here as y'all are debating my Lakers like y'all care what happens to them for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You don't give a damn about what happens to these Lakers, and y'all over here playing GM with my Lakers.
You know, I do care. I do care because the Lakers are, real talk, one of the seminal franchises in the American sports.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm noticing? It's so much easier.
I gotta fix my camera, guys. Hold on. I gotta fix my camera. Hold on.
Around.
Let me fix my camera.
What did the Lakers do? And responding to the Lakers from Kareem and Magic to freaking Kobe to friggin' the LeBron era.
You know what I hate? How much appreciation y'all have for us when we're no longer in the competitive sport of this playoffs. I love how much appreciation. Where was that at a couple weeks ago when I was here? I ain't never hogged on nobody. Why am I back here now hearing all this appreciation?
Because you came up with lies saying that you guys are going to get out of the Western Conference.
That wasn't
That's why this is called Why You Always Lie.
You know, it's easy.
It wasn't a lie. It was a prediction.
This is why it's good for you to be humble, because it's easier for people to give you your flowers when you are humble. When y'all come in here and banging your chest like we the shit, we're like, we'll see about that. But you come in here humble. I have never seen a Laker fan more humble than Curtis today. This should be recorded and studied. I didn't know Laker fans had this level of humility in them. This is amazing. I can feel it through the screen. And it makes me want to say, this is actually a great franchise all time. Like, I want to give you guys are almost as great of a franchise as the Yankees.
I'm not gonna accept this disrespect sandwich that you're serving me right now.
Almost.
He's serving me a sandwich with disrespect buns. I don't want it. Talking about,
let's answer. Hold on. There's one important question people are asking: what's with all the green? And what's with all the green is Toure's just representing. He's just chilling. Me, this is how I live. But there was a conversation about the Lakers, making it out of the Western Conference, and we're trying to figure out some type of wager. And this gentleman, who's a stand-up man, lost the bet came to our show in all green. This is Rap Latte all the way. So that's why we on the green team today. But it feels so bad for y'all. That don't even feel good beating up on you right now. Like this ain't even, it feels wrong.
First of all, you didn't beat up on nothing. Y'all didn't beat up on nothing. You was in the East Coast. Let's relax. Let's just relax for a second. Okay. The Wolves handled that. Good job. Shout out to them. You guys didn't do nothing. All right. First of all, you need to worry about this second round. But
real question. What do you think was what do you think? I'm not worried about the Knicks. I'm not worried about the Knicks. They barely that 4-1 gentleman's sweep was not a real gentleman's sweep. They should have destroyed that first round. I'm not worried about the Knicks. I'm not. We're probably going to win in 6.
The Knicks don't have the offensive firepower of Boston. Boston come out, get 120, 130 points, like run you out of the building, like defense. Like this is the Celtics. I mean, like real talk. The Celtics are probably the best team in the dance. Only OKC really is I'm thinking about, but like.
Matchup wise, I'm more afraid of the Nuggets matchup wise than anybody else in the NBA. Just matchup wise.
We're just gonna overlook the Cavs. That's just not even an issue.
I'm not worried.
I don't care about the East Coast, bro. I'm not worried about nobody.
Agreed. We good in the East.
Yeah, we good in the East. Like we good. This is our coast.
ESPN loves to point out. Ever since he said we good in the West, they are like 0-7 in playoff series, like y'all.
That's crazy. Wow. Well, let's move on. Let's move on because
hold on. Yeah, let's move on.
You got something to say?
I want to hear Curtis talk a little bit about the Punch interview because I was really proud of you for getting that and how you see the battle differently after that conversation. Like, what did he tell you that educated your position or your understanding of the battle in any way?
If any, yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, hearing Toure said I was proud to see you get that means something to me. So I want to acknowledge that for a second. Thank you. I don't think it gave me anything new except for just confirmation that the folks that I got to know years and years ago as a producer, first for Absol and then getting to know the team because of that, it was confirmation that they were moving with as much strategy as I thought they were, and as much of a how do I put it, like a calmness about the whole thing. He just confirmed that. When I heard him speaking about that, I was like, this is the same thing it's been since day one when it came to anything that you saw them do strategically, whether they were pushing J-Rock or pushing K-Dot or Soul or Q, whoever it was. This has always been the mantra. That's why when I was making the videos around this time last year, I was like, I don't think y'all realize not just Kendrick, but this team has been primed for moments like this. When they would when they would say, all right, we're gonna all be different people from Wu-Tang, and you rap from the perspective of Jizza, you rap from the perspective of ODB, you rap from the perspective. They did this for fun. Right, that's kind of their hip. Like for some of us, that's our hip hop upbringing. We saw these folks as superheroes. That's what they did for fun back then. Before the people knew them like that. So when I saw this battle, I was like, me being someone who does like to look into lyrics and see what devices an artist is using, why people are gravitating towards them. I always said I would have rather have seen this battle be between Kendrick and Cole, just from a hip hop standpoint, a lyrical standpoint,
so ability standpoint, yeah.
But from talking to Punch, I was like, it just confirmed how ill-equipped, how unprepared Drake's side was. But I just say this from a personal standpoint, like I don't go into this thinking that I'm going to get these kind of conversations. But I'm grateful that he chose my platform to have the conversation. And yeah, man, I'm just grateful.
Do you sense that this started because of something Drake said or something Kendrick felt? Because I feel like Kendrick been waiting for a long time for a chance to shiv this nigga. And Drake just kind of opened the door a little bit, but he been waiting for his chance because he's like, I've been hating him.
You know, a line that came to mind, Toure, this morning before I got on here with you guys, and I wanted to like bring it back up. Kendrick called Drake a scam artist,
right?
With the hopes of being accepted. And I think a lot of us kind of took that as, oh, okay, this is just like rap bravado. You're doing a character deconstruction. This is all part of the process. But when I really think about that, and I think about the kind of character that got deconstructed on Meet the Grams, on I mean, pretty much every song you can think of, Euphoria, he basically seemed like he was letting the audience know, I knew this guy was this type of guy from day one. But now that we're presented with this opportunity in this one-to-one battle, now you are going to see, what's the name of that famous story where they say the king without his clothes? What's that story?
The emperor's new clothes.
Emperor's, yeah, new clothes. Like I look at that and it's like he doesn't realize he now the rest of the world sees him for being naked, as opposed to all the gaudy things that he had on him, all the things that he used in terms of making it appear that he was a lyricist. King Green is a lyricist. King Green sees this in 3D. The peers that I have see this in 3D. They treat this from a very different, this is not about the commercialism of it. It's prioritized to be about the art first. And that's something that I felt like Kendrick has never buckled from, right? No matter if it's a song for radio or if it's always some kind of vitamin in the brownie. So when I look at this, I'm like, yeah,
right.
To your question, I'm just like, I think that the Control verse was him showing the world for the first time how disconnected Drake is from hip hop, but Drake did it himself. All Kendrick did is say, I'm a rapper and I want to rap better than you.
Kendrick couldn't have known what anybody's response to Control would be. He just sort of sprayed around, and I think you would assume most people would understand it's hip hop, and if you don't, fuck you. He didn't expect Drake to go on a multi-interview tour talking about it to where it was like, you are clearly deeply triggered. Is that what we think is the real beginning of this?
Yes. I'll even raise this to you for that one to give a little pushback. If we're thinking about timeline, if I'm not, please, if I'm mistaken, correct me, but this is after they've done the tour together, right? Where he brought him and A$AP Rocky on tour, which, by the way, he didn't need that because the trajectory was already determined. Like Kendrick was going to be Kendrick no matter what, but he was invited to be on that tour with A$AP Rocky and Drake being the headliner. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, you get to see the character of somebody on tour. I've been on tour with people and you learn things about their personality that sometimes you wish you could just everything, right? Their hygiene, everything that comes along with everything. So my thing is this, I think he did know. I think he did know that this person is frail. He's not the real deal. He's not hip hop. And if I say this, Pusha T gonna already know what it is. That's why he said in the song, y'all already know what this is. He knew that he was going to get some kind of sassy dragon response from him, and he did. The moment he didn't know what it was going to be specifically, but look at, he had to get rid of a video, I believe, on Fox Sports. Drake did, because of how much he, as the kids like to say, crashed out in the interview. Yeah. I think he saw this coming a mile away.
But this is what I'm saying, that he saw something, he perceived something, he heard things back when it was that touring together era of their lives, when he was like, no, you're whack. You can't be the top guy. Yeah. Right. And one day I'm going to have my moment to get you. And like and since then he's just lying in wait, adding evidence, building. I don't think it's that calculated. I think it's, I know that you're whack and you're in a top spot that I want. Yeah. If you're cool with me and you're chill, I can't find a reason to attack you. But if you come off a different way, then I'm going to attack it, because the Control verse was very light and it was out there, and it was more so that because even me, like, I didn't care for Section 80 in the way that I instantly fell in love with Good Kid, Mad City, right? I was like, oh no, this guy's got it. Now I understand all the conversation. So I think when that conversation got implemented after your first album, or your first major label album, that you are kind of the guy, when there's already a guy, that guy who's at the top feels threatened, because everyone's saying that you are next to be
like the new Jay-Z, the new Andre 3000, the new great, and they bypassed you. Like that was the LeBron Kobe thing that happens sometimes, right? Where people just bypass Kobe and go to LeBron. And I think Drake felt something about that he got bypassed critically. Critically, no one cared about Drake after Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City in the same way. Before he was, so I think that's what created the riff in Drake's heart and the bitch assness in Drake. And then the bitch assness in Drake. And then Kendrick fueled the fire a little bit, but I don't think it was as calculated as I'm waiting for my time. It's more so if you fuck up, it's over for you.
Yeah. No, I felt
that.
Yeah, I think it was in his spirit from that far back of where you're like, I don't like that nigga. I don't like that. And you feel a spirit in you of like, if I ever got a chance, I would.
If I ever had a chance,
I would fuck him up. And you put it in the closet. A couple years later, like, look at him. He's such a bitch. Oh, really? You said what? He does what? Oh, really? Okay, all right. And he just in building the. And
only
like said, like it's not like calculated, but it's like it's in him of like he's got like internal notebooks of thought of like I'm working on this in my mind of like this idea and that idea that he's building for years, and they pull it out and like wreck you. Like, yeah.
Curtis, let me ask you, as a rapper, have you ever thought about battling anybody? Just the concept of I would do this line, or I think anybody, a rapper that's out, a rapper around the area. Have you ever thought about it, even though you didn't have no beef?
You want to know the first one?
Yeah.
Absol. God bless his heart for saving me. Absol and I were from the same region in Carson. And you got to understand, you know how it is. I mean, I should say you got to understand. You know what it is, King Green. When you a rapper, you're coming up in the ranks, and you start to really learn your voice, and you know what you're doing. You're like, I really do this shit. I'm extraordinary from a lot of the folks who will be considered my peers. But damn it, you see when you look at your play, your grandma used to say, your eyes is bigger than your stomach.
Yes.
I called him one day, and I was like, hey man. I was like, hey, bro, for the culture, bro, I'm thinking like, hey, man, we could do da. And he was like, Curtis.
You don't want this shit.
He was so wise even in them younger years. He was like, Curtis, let's not do that. He said, some people may take it the wrong way and may understand. Not that he wasn't open to it if I kept pressing, but then a part of me just thought for a second. Only to find out this is one of the best lyricists of our era.
So what was his reason why you shouldn't do it?
Well, one, because I assume, I have never asked him that, but from what he gave me as the reason, he was just like, I don't think that would be a wise decision. He didn't really elaborate, except for there may be people on the outside who may not understand that this is about the
see it differently. Yeah,
because of the area that we're from, and because they may see that as like, why you dissing a homie? Like, who the hell do you think you are? That's what he made it there. But it was really, you really want to get into it. It was,
I'll kill you.
I don't have to kill my homie. Like, I don't have to kill my homie early on in his career for no reason because he's feeling himself too much. That was the first one. But I tell you this. No matter where you go, that is always on your mind. No rapper, no MC, not rapper, MC ever wants to have the worst verse on a song. You want to go for the best verse. If you're asked to be a feature, you want to be a standout, not to the point where you bring down the value of the song. You want to increase what's going on there.
Yeah.
And
you want to kill everybody on that song. You want to be remembered.
And it's never nothing personal. If anything, you've created a better overall product because of your addition.
Exactly.
But Drake saw this stuff and was like, so what you're saying is you don't like me?
Yeah. Wait, I'm not the fucking GOAT to you, even though I gave you a song? Look at how much entitled. I gave you that hit song that you have. You didn't give him his skill. You didn't give him his ambition. And this is why I love two things that you just said right now. One, plain and simple. If you're MC, I think I'm better than everybody. I think I could fuck up anybody. and I'm trying to kill everybody, right? And I have thoughts. I have bars for fucking Jay-Z and Eminem in my head. Like if I had to take an angle, it's like, oh, this is the angle I would take, being a nobody. I'm thinking about that. But then on the other side, I'm a human being and a respecter and lover of these people and this craft that I know that I am not these niggas. Right. I know that these niggas' lyrical capability is not about your capability of what your and this is not just humility. It's not just your pen. I have a fucking pen. Who has executed and proven over time that they can do it? That's the difference between you and other people. Some rappers be like, yo, this niggas can't rap better than me. Where have you shown? Where have you shown that you can rap better than this person? Do you have 4 classic albums? Do you have literary work for bounds? Do you have a Pulitzer Prize? Think of me going on here right now and saying I'm a better rapper than Kendrick Lamar because I strung a bunch of punchlines together. I think that's insane. I can string so many clever punchlines together, but to say that you are a better rapper or artist than someone who's proven it time to time, I think is ridiculous.
You know, I think that is an excellent segue into discussing what that idiot Mal had to say on his show.
Yes. Let's get to it.
He talked to anonymous rappers. I love that. That's what Donald Trump does. I spoke to Democrats and they said, blah, blah. Mal, I spoke to rappers and they said, obviously he's out rapping him on Family Man. I got 2 rappers right here. You got 0 real fucking rap. Nobody fucking said that to you.
Hey, so right, let's play this idiot. Can I add this? I'll tell you this. Those rappers probably have special interests inside their pockets right now.
Exactly.
Probably special interests. I'm just gonna put it on the record right now. Continue.
Let's play a little bit. He says, who out-rapped who? Kendrick or Drake?
Family Matters drops the exact same day. Maul, you posted a red button as well as Drake on his story. Maul, do you think the Dave Free bar was the nuke that Drake thought it was?
No, I don't think that Drake thought that was a nuke, that bar.
He had said on red button on the Scary Hours Deluxe for all the dogs that he could hit the red button. Everyone's going to heaven. Yeah, so we were all anticipating that this red button was going to be something that was going to blow all of our fucking minds.
I'm going to ask y'all that question. Do y'all think in Drake's head that salacious bar about Dave Free and all that was a red button in Drake's head? Like that was like the big baby reveal?
Oh, in his head.
In his head. I think so, right? And that was probably the lamest bar in the whole song. Like that one meant nothing to nobody. No one cared. I felt like, why are you saying that? Like no one cared that you said that at all. That's like misfortunate. That's not even something you could make fun of somebody. Like it makes no sense.
It's mirroring that Kendrick had been trying to tell him, I know about your camp. I know things about your camp. So Drake's doing it back to him.
It's going to be the one that
I know about Dave Free, somebody at your camp. So he's just.
But as far as.
But let's ask it now since Maul.
Go on, let's hear more of this terrible television show.
But that was for sure the red button in his head. Afro Butterfly said she thought the music video also in his mind was the red button. You know how we know it is? Because it's like a joke that didn't land, and you keep trying to explain it to people who and they're like, no, but what I meant was like, okay, because the guy goes in the bar, right? What did he do on not Heart Part 6, Hurt Part 6? What did he do? What was the album cover for Hurt Part 6?
I forgot.
It was Dave Free.
That's hysterical.
Heart emoji. Matt. A heart emoji comment on I think on Whitney's page. So he's still trying to sell the red button. The red button. He's just not that bright. We have to have he's not that bright.
Just wait. Let's get to the heart of what. Go ahead. Play a little bit more. I want to get to the heart of what dumbass Mal was saying.
Toure's enemies.
Did bring it up. Who out-rapped who?
It's a presidential debate.
Not who out-impact who. Who had the better strategy? Who had the better bars in this entire
Doesn't it seem like a
battle?
Smoker's jacket's hilarious.
I stay on my side of the line of scrimmage.
He got to. He got a check from the pop-out show.
I don't have to.
Yes, you do. You can't go against that.
I can do whatever I want to do.
Nah, you can't go against Kendrick. You can't do that. And I'm not mad at you. I fuck with you. I'm not mad at you. But you can't sit there and objectively say, nah, I don't think that,
I would.
Nah.
If that's what I thought.
Drake out-rapped him. And I'm talking about, fuck me saying it. Some of the rappers that you've played their records and respect, I've had conversations with them. And they like, yo, Kendrick may have got the strategy and the perception.
Name one.
Some of the rappers.
Name one.
You know why he had to say that? Because he's not a practitioner and he's not the person that you take that from. Right. You have to bring in some authority into that conversation, but the authority is anonymous. It's like, man, I think the PlayStation 7 is coming out in 2 years. How do you know? I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah. I know a guy that works at PlayStation. He knows. Mm-hmm. He does this every day. This nothing.
This anonymous authority is a big thing in right-wing rhetoric, where Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly talk about other people told me off the record this salacious thing, and it's supposed to seem like I'm able to say the thing that others are unable to say. They're saying it in the shadows, but I have the courage to say it in the truth. But you're right. Like, he needs somebody's backup to say, he needs somebody to hold his hand to say, Drake actually out-rapped him. Because if Mal alone just said it, it would be like, what are you talking about? So I have rappers standing with me on this point. No, you don't, nigga. Name fucking one. Not one rapper that fucking no DJ ever fucking spun told you by text, by phone, by any fucking that Drake out-rapped him on that fucking. Fuck you. That did not fucking happen.
I think there are rappers, and I actually do know some people who think that, but they usually have issue with the style of rap that Kendrick does in the first place. Because there are rappers who have an issue with Kendrick as a larger entity within this realm in general, right? People who are making bops and think of things as bops and thinking of things in a certain way, they might look at that and be like, I don't like that stuff. You know, when Kendrick said this line that was very important and very smart, I realized that y'all don't like the West Coast. That's a real thing, right? Of a concept, of an idea that like some people are thinking about the sound, the vibe of what's coming from Kendrick and placing it under West Coast and thinking it's lesser.
But he is not quoting your avant-garde hip-hop thinkers.
He's not quoting anyone with any real objection.
People who do not exist. He's talking about nobody. There's nobody. He talked to nobody.
Nobody. No,
he didn't tell anybody. He didn't reveal sources.
And he's trying to make them. Let's attack the point. Did you finish the clip? Or we still have more of the clip?
Oh no, we stopped the clip. But I wanted to say something too about the rapper. Him talking about the rapping, because they're going to go into it and he's not going to actually give any evidence. The whole practitioner thing is like, if what we're going to do in a video probably this week, I'm going to break down Family Matters and Meet the Grams side by side. And I'm going to break it from literary devices to figurative devices to angle, and you will see that the other person, anyone who says that Family Matters is better, if you can't do that back to me, I don't want to hear you talk, because I will tell you why I think it's better. You have to come through with an actual result of why it's better.
King Green, that's the problem. The first question in this debate that should have happened before that question is not even the question statement. Define what you think out-rapping is. What is lyricism to you? What do you? If you get to that, you'll really expose how very little they know. If you really got to it, I assume this is what it is for Maul. He likes the way Drake makes him feel. I'm not even trying to be funny. Right. The way his bars and the way he rides the beat. That's kind of zesty. The way he rides the beat, the way he flipped the beat switch. The beat switch is not a literary fucking device. Excuse my language. Like, what are we talking about right now? Another thing, too. I was on live the other day talking about this. I was like, why is it that lyricists in this era, where they know how disrespected their craft has been over the last 15 years, from people telling them to dumb it down, that there's no need for your skill set. Oh, man, you're trying to rap like the golden age. For those who have been in that pocket, Why would you be the one that doesn't want to celebrate somebody like Kendrick, who is using all of these hip hop and literary devices? And then Rob Markman came in and said something really dope. He said, that's probably because those lyricists would rather be living like Drake than living like Kendrick. They see that within their own the success trajectory that they'd rather be on is that they just happen to rap like this. That's one. Last point I want to make before we get to it. I see the same thing happening with some of the battle rappers, and I've seen some of the points of views. I think even Matt Hoffa had said something about, him not being impressed by some of the things that Kendrick was doing. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But my thing is this: when you know better and you've seen better and you've done better, you have a responsibility to stand by your knowledge, and they're not doing it. You know what it reminds me of? Shaq. Shaq has the weirdest breakdowns of big men and criticisms of big men. Yes, is he one of the best centers of all time? Absolutely.
A perfect analysis.
But he criticizes people who have a much better free throw percentage than he ever had. And he had mess to talk about Dwight Howard, and he had mess to talk about JaVale McGee. Anybody that came close to his style of game, he was so irritated by it. But you know who he's not irritated by? People he can't be threatened by because his skill set was never like it. The Joker. Point guards, shooting guards. He bigs up them all day long because that's never his skill set. And my legacy's not threatened if I big up you. But if I big up Dwight Howard, you might think start comparing us, and that's not what I want you to do. I'm the real Superman. So I think there's a lot of lyricists that are also just jealous.
I completely agree. I think there's a lot of lyricists and people we could name by name, but that feel like they could have been Kendrick Lamar or should have been Kendrick Lamar, and then there's a little bit of hate there.
Wait, can we go back 1 second? Is it normal, Curtis, for a rapper to call another rapper and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about dissing you," and like have a conversation about it? Or is that just because y'all happen to know each other?
Today it is. Right, that
it is.
When you're jumping around in ciphers, when I'm in my 20s and 30s, that can happen at a moment's notice. You got to stay ready. You could be rapping in a cipher, getting your bars off, and then somebody next to you starts directing bars to you. You got a battle on your hands. That's just the nature of
like every time.
Every time, right? Yeah. Especially if you good and you getting a reaction from the crowd. But in terms of like the traditional, mainstream rap, I heard the Baby go on, ironically, on Shaq's podcast and say a rapper called him during the whole back and forth between Kendrick and Drake and said, "Hey, man, they getting some motion right now. I was thinking, you and our teams can align on a goal and we can start battling rapping against each other." And he was like, without saying it, like, my people will shoot you. We're not going to have no fake battle.
I will hurt you. I think that's a missed opportunity. And I think I'm surprised that there's not more, at least management or artists who understand battling as an amazing marketing opportunity. And especially if you had a situation where, our whole Young Money camp is battling against the whole whatever, Odd Future, whatever the fuck camp. And so it's not just one-on-one, but this one, so it becomes this Avengers. These guys are making records again. It could be fun. And it's like, hey, we're just battling. Like we don't really hate each other. Okay. Don't go all monkey ape nigger on me. We're just bad. I mean, like,
how do you control that?
We start off.
There's a lot of ego that takes place.
How do you control it? We start off from the beginning saying we're making money here. Like we're
not talking about the main characters, Toure. I'm talking about entourages. I'm talking about when you see somebody in the club and you like, "Hey, isn't he from so and so side?" You can't get everybody in line because these folks don't have they entourages in line. They hiring dudes that would otherwise be doing some wild shit, but now that they part of the entourage, they the extra muscle and security. So you're talking about everybody got to be on code, and I just feel like that's unrealistic in this.
We may be talking about. Maybe some crews are not mature enough for it, right? Would not be able to see battles as just a battle, right? But then there are some crews that are like, not every crew is from the street. If we had set up, let's say, a Tribe Called Quest is going to battle Farside, or De La Soul or whatever. Then none of them are from the street.
Ain't nobody want to hear that.
Are not street. So there's no worry about, or Native Tongues is going to battle, even Odd Future, like they're skateboarders, like so nobody's gonna friggin' do that, right? So I mean, like we could set those sort of things up that become really intelligent.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible if it is actually set up correctly, because I wouldn't say that it's not impossible, because there wouldn't be battle rap culture now if it wasn't possible. Because you're talking about real street dudes in battle rap culture that said the craziest things in the world, and then they piece it up after. So if it comes in with understanding of the culture, it can make sense. Like a sound clash, like dancehall culture in Jamaica, you do a sound clash, 2 different crews, they're going track by track, which was like a versus. It's possible, but it has to be so set up in the beginning that it's understood, right? But the fan base, I think, puts things in a different perspective. That's why I like the verses so much. Everybody's at home, people do the verses, people are talking shit, but it's all in jest, it's all fun. Like the Dipset versus Jadakiss, the Locks versus Jadakiss took them all out. Yeah, Jadakiss took them all out. For sure. Yeah. So that was beautiful, and that was a moment. And I feel like if you did that with newer artists, and it's possible, but you have to set the medium and platform up for those people. But the number one thing is Maul's out of his mind.
Niggas kind of lost face that night a little bit. They kind of tried to save it at the end by saying we're all going on tour together. So then it was like, oh, this is part of the shtick. But they didn't go on tour together. And in retrospect, I'm like, Jadakiss kind of ripped y'all's faces off. The verses was supposed to be nice. We're not really battling. And that
but that's internal Dipset shit that happened. The reason why that happened, though, that had nothing to do with Kiss and the Locks. Dipset had internal situations, so they can't go on tour because Dipset got internal shit.
I bet you it came up.
You said the tour fell apart because of Dipset.
Because of internal shit. Yeah.
I bet you that came up in that internal shit. Look at how y'all got us out here looking. That has to come up.
I'm saying that was the one versus that took a left turn and somebody really got their face ripped off.
Well, but nobody's mad at Kiss though. Like Cam ain't mad at Kiss, but Dipset mad at Dipset.
They mad at Jimmy.
Well, the things that those all have in common is, I mean, those are controlled environments, right? With these controlled environments, I think you can get more of what you're saying, Toure, is that can happen in those environments. You know who has done a job of this? And it's going to segue to a comment that you made, to where I think was genius, and somebody put it on my radar. I think Wildin' Out is that. I think Wildin' Out is a space where at the end, when they do it's more the dozens than it is a rap battle, but they bring battle rappers in there, and in acapella, they start rapping back and forth with each other, and they're very friendly jabs. Nobody's gonna walk away from there feeling like you got disrespected, yada yada yada. But this segues to something that you said, and I think this was the disconnect with Drake and Kendrick, and this is such a brilliant statement. They were having 2 different conversations. I think Drake thought this was a Wildin' Out battle in which anything goes. And when he saw the seriousness in which was being directed to him and the psychological teardown that happened with Kendrick with every single song, the different methods of how you deconstruct someone's character, he was like,
Drake being a Wildin' Out fan is hilarious.
Put your hands on your knees. Put your hand. All I saw was DC Young Fly dancing with him like, hey, because he thought this was some shit for the crowd, but he didn't understand this is what happens when you're when you're hand-to-hand combat as rappers. You better rap. Stop doing all of the sideshow shit, circus shit. Stop it.
Somebody, who was it? Who was the other interview? Somebody from the crew. Was it Head who talked about when we get in a battle, we max out? And like the thing about that, like Compton sort of mentality, like we are trying to murder you immediately, right? Because that's the tension, that's the level that we come from. We're not playing fair. We are trying to murder you instantly as soon as the clock starts.
Can't play boxing.
Right. And right. And Drake is kind of like easing into it and telling him, come on, drop. Oh my God, let's have fun. And like, they're like, you can't imitate this violence. Like we're traumatized. We will destroy you.
But that's why we can't have these battles, because even sound clashes have violence. But if you have a culture of violence embedded in your culture, it's bound to possibly come out. So you have to know what to do to not let it go to a violent place. Jay-Z and Nas could have been violent. Yeah.
I mean, Jay-Z and Nas could have been violent. They both come from the streets. Big and Pac. I'm talking about, put together two MCs, you know what it is, who aren't from the streets. And the possibility of that happening is far less.
You know what the funniest part about all of this? You know the person that had the most violent lyrics in his back and forth battle? It'd be a very big surprise to some of you. Drake. Kendrick did this deconstructing. He said, I think people like you should die, right? That was probably as violent. We're just talking about violent. Drake in Hard Part 6 talked about pulling out razors and cutting people. He talked about you're dead and shooting off imaginary guns. He said all of this stuff. And you know what? That's when it started to dawn upon me and a bunch of other people. He think this is for play. And he doesn't understand what he's saying has real life repercussions in the midst of this. I think he was just floating his way through this like there's no way that I could lose, not because he's not a better rapper than me, but because I'm the biggest artist in the game. I'm UMG's golden child. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Even when you talk about the first version of Push Ups, where people keep overlooking this, he leaked the version, and I still to this day believe that version was an AI reference track. I still believe with all my heart it was an AI reference track when you listen to it. And then when people said, "Is this you?" This nigga said, maybe. And then put it on streaming a few days later. Like, this whole thing was played like somebody who was being cute around fire.
Even with Family Matters, he still doesn't understand Kendrick is the number one bogey. Kendrick is the number one problem. He kind of meanders around in the song before he gets to dealing with Kendrick and saying like actually painful things toward Kendrick. I'm like, your mind is not really focused on the actual problem. And that to me goes to the notion you're saying of like misperceiving the world you're in, misperceiving the reality, misperceiving who is really the problem here. I think he loved the 20v1 thing, that it made him look great that all these people were attacking him. But we really understood, no, he is attacking you. Yeah. You're not really attacking him. You're playing, but he's attacking the shit out of you.
Let's talk about the first.
Can I have one thing? I don't think he loved 20v1. I think 20v1 was an excuse for the ass whooping he knew was coming.
Angle. Yeah.
I think he was like, wait a minute. How do we beat Kendrick? Convincing people that it's 20 people coming at me. So then that way, it's like somebody who
I don't think Drake thought that he was going to lose.
It's not an excuse. Not an excuse, but an angle. I think it's an angle. He didn't mean it's excuse now in hindsight, but we're saying that's his angle to try to switch it. It's like, oh shit, everybody. Oh no, it's 20v1, okay. And that's an angle that he read from the internet, because all his angles came from the internet, came from how people perceive things, which is what you just said. Drake, even though his literary style might be more in ethos, and Kendrick's would be in pathos. That's the opposite, meaning like ethos being your credibility, being what makes you so strong, where pathos is making the audience changing the flipping and make sure what the audience understands. So Kendrick first lines on Family Matters was what? You know who really bangers said my nigga YG. You know who really bangers said my nigga CB. You know who really bangers said what is profound about any of these things? It's about him trying to be an authority in who's really real, right? No literary anything, nothing. Thought process, not an illusion, not a device anywhere, right? Just ethos.
The fact that you got to shake your neck when you say it, tells you everything about them lines.
Exactly. Kendrick's first fucking line is "Dear Adonis." That's ridiculous. Like off top, it's pathos. It's talking to the audience and making sure you understand a narrative, a storyline that he presented to you of the future. He just took you into the future with one fucking word, one line. This nigga said, you know who really been said my nigga YG, which goes to fucking Curtis's whole point. He's making people feel good with a rhythm they understand, a flow that they heard for 15 years, and an authority that has no actual merit behind it. Where this other nigga, Kendrick Lamar, who's insane, A psychopathic literary genius says, I'm going to talk to your son in the future and prove why you are not a great father, why you're a bad person, why you are not really that guy, with statements about don't let nobody piss on you in a movie theater. Even if you a bitch, even if you got bitches, is a double entendre. Oh yeah, you're a black man too. Yeah,
black man Adonis. This
so
is not
be one, not like your father.
I call Adonis a black man.
He's a black man. It takes so much thought just to understand the first verse. But a dumb nigga is gonna listen to, you know who really banger sit my nigga CB, my nigga these niggas sit my nigga YG. Hey, bands make a day. You're not saying anything. You're false authority where I'm actually using literary allusion, double entendre in the first 5 lines. Shut up. One's an idiot, one's not.
Can I share this theory that I think a lot of Drake fans never want to, OVO MAGA fans never want to hear me say? The third verse where he is talking about this imaginary daughter, I think is such an overlooked verse for the wrong reasons. That is such a genius verse because in that verse, I didn't notice this until I started to see YouTube videos pop up of a lot of female perspectives where they were crying. And it was specifically on that verse. Here's what I think happened in that verse where you're talking about the imaginary daughter. Let's take that out the equation just for a second. I want you to go re-listen to that song. I'm one of those cycles, by the way, Toure, that helped that get more streams than Family Matters. I'm one of those looking on the treadmill, by the way. Go back to that verse. Ow. I want you to think about this from the perspective of let's say a woman who has a deadbeat baby father. Mm-hmm. Think about the man that is being described in that verse. Forget about the daughter. Do you think it's possible that your baby daddy that you hate so much, Drake could just be a more richer avatar of that, or version of that? The more you dice that down and start realizing he might be the creepy uncle. He might be deadbeat dad. He might be all these different avatars. He says baby girl. He doesn't say a name. I mean, he alludes to eternal, and we know that's a deep rabbit hole, but he says, baby girl. When I look at that, I say that level of writing, you never stood a chance, my friend. You don't stand a chance when in the middle of you rapping at somebody aggressively, you say, hands on your knees, hands on, you are not, you trying to play chess with goldfish.
Meanwhile, fucking Kendrick at the end is going into psycho preacher, Baptist fucking preacher mode. You lied about your accent and your past tense. Oh, you lied about your ghostwriters. You lied about your son. You lied. I mean, like, I can see him in the pulpit. You lied. Condemn the devil. Evil.
He's throwing holy water on.
You know what I mean?
You lied. Shame.
Like, we are not in I am out rapping you land. We are in you are a horrible person that you should not exist on the earth. You are a blight to your family, to hip hop, to America. Like, please stop existing. Like, I mean, right? I mean, battles used to be about I'm out rapping you. He says early on, this is not about rapping. I hate you. I hate everything about you. And this song continues that. Like, you have a lifelong problem with yourself that you need to deal with. This is
that's a rap battle.
More profound.
That's a rap battle. It's a long life battle with yourself. I think every song up until Not Like Us, Kendrick wasn't talking to us. I think he was talking to one man, and he said things that we caught on to, but we just watching a conversation where he's like, no, Drake. This is different than Wild 'N Out.
I mean,
I'm not battling you because we already know I'm a superior rapper. That's not even a conversation. I'm going to talk to you. And even when I, as Punch alluded to, even when I hit the mid-range, I'm not even going to go for the home run. I'm not going to go for the slam dunk. I'm not going to go for the three-pointer. Even when I hit the mid-range and just talk to you, I'm going to still accidentally use literary devices because I've been doing this. Your best day is the day.
It ain't no accident, but I agree with you.
Not accident. Accident's the wrong word.
Yeah.
More so when you have been so
innately.
innately, right? When you've been so used to writing in the dense approach that he has, when you quote unquote,
he can't do it. He can't help himself.
You can't dumb it down. Like I was talking to Daylight about, you can't dumb it down. That's not a part of your nature. What you can do is use strategically a different approach that clears it up for people who are not able to understand your most dense work. When he did that, he's like, when you think about Not Like Us, I almost gave him all the argument that Family Matters was more lyrically inclined than Not Like Us. And then I sat down with it and I said, it's not even in the same hemisphere as Not Like Us.
Let's talk about Family Matters. Let me say something. Family Matters.
No, let me say something again. Because the problem with Kendrick Lamar and people receiving his work is he's so good that people believe it as absolute truth. And here's what I mean by that. When he's saying you lied and you lied, people are believing the performance because the performance is so great. Like you said, he's a preacher in this moment. Kendrick went home, had dinner with his kids, forgot about that song. That is him being that good at creating a moment. Let me display this. Eminem created this, let me say that he pushed out this whole concept of using yourself's flaws to push it out in a battle so people can't use them against you, right? That's something that 8 Mile did. Whereas a lot of egotistical rap battles, no one would really even think about that, really, because you wouldn't think about your flaws and put them out there. That's because that's in Eminem's character, right? He put that on Front Street. Not to say no one did it before him. Mm-hmm. He put that on Front Street. That's how good I felt about Kendrick Lamar. And when he did Euphoria, super dense work, usual him, I was like, no, Kendrick, I know you can like do some. I was like, I expected you to murder this guy and think about. And then when I got Meet the Grams, which is that, Meet the Grams is the most sound psychological deconstruction of a human being in a battle in audio form that I've ever heard in my life. I've listened to it probably 5 times, only for analytical purposes, because the performance of that record is so crazy that people just believe every single word as gospel. Yeah. Where he's just using his writing ability to take an angle and make you believe that angle. That's the best writing you could possibly do for you to believe it as actual gospel and truth. We walk away thinking, you know what? This nigga is a fucking colonizer. He hates women. Everything is fucking true that this man said, where some of it can be an angle, some of it we have actual truths that we could draw from, but he just created a literary narrative, a fictitious conversation to display that, and people think that this is bad writing.
If Kendrick knew that he doesn't have a daughter, or if he believed at the time that he did, because maybe he thought he didn't, but it would still send people scurrying and it causes a reaction. But then, I don't know. It's kind of weird that he seemed to have thought like if he didn't know that to be true, I don't know why he would go there, because the song is so strong beside that.
But see, that's my angle, is that I think that wasn't for us as men. Like the more that I talk to the women in my community, the more I start to understand what they're telling me is that if we're taking what you said, King Green, that we're now taking these criticisms as truths, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm looking at you and saying, do I believe that he's the type of person to do this? Well, he's done it already with a son. Wait a minute. Are you that avatar? I used to look at you. I'm just saying from a woman's perspective. I used to look at you like Dream Man or whatever the case may be. Now I got to look at you and be like, you ain't shit like this person I know or this person. And the way he painted that picture and he talked about you won't watch Frozen with her. You prioritize your rap career ahead of that. You know how many Cheaters episodes I heard where it's like, you're never around. You always want to go to the studio and you never want to spend time with your daughter. All of a sudden, Drake looks like that. So if we're taking these as truths, and then he says, now that I have painted this picture and I've created I've highlighted the avatar in your character, now I'm going to talk to you in the last verse. And he did that. It's so masterful to where there's no way, with all the wisdom around him, Punch included, there's no way that they don't, if he told them to cut down Euphoria from the 18 or 20 minutes that it was because it's fluff, there's no way. I have not a shadow of a doubt that he wouldn't have told him to take that verse out if it was fluff.
Green, what was the last chat?
This one?
Yeah. Oh, Screwface. Well, no, right. Okay. Battles have always been kind of more than out rapping your op. That's why the best lyricist doesn't always win. Yeah, I mean, I think that in the and Screwface knows this, in the pre-Pusha T Drake era, it really was, the feeling was that it's about who's going to out-rap the other person. But Screwface, sorry, my daughter's calling me right now. But friggin' Pusha T shifted it to, it becomes more of a gossip sort of thing of like, I'm going to find the information that defeats you. But when it was KRS and Shan, you know, like that sort of era, like that was about that Chris out-rapped Shan, not that he had some piece of information way that Pusha T or... Go ahead.
Yeah, but one part of out-rapping in a battle that people don't like to understand or put out there is we're talking angle. It's a concept that exists within battle rap culture, right? And angle means what position am I going to take within this debate of words and concepts to demean you, right? And it's developed over time. And that angle that MC Sham and Kumo D had, MC Sham's out here rocking the party. Everybody fucks with him, right? The reason why Kumo D won, besides just having a better cadence and rapping ability, he said, look at me. You guys are liking this guy who just says a BBD bop booms, it shabity shoot, well, I'm stringing words together and telling you why he sucks. That's an angle. He proved in that, because I've listened to that tape a bunch of times. He proved in that verse that, look, you think that he's good. He may rock a party, but like, I'll do this. I don't remember the exact bars, but I can put words together that can make you think differently than this person. And MC Sham he couldn't come back with anything like that. He had no angle to say that actually I do rhyme more words than you, but he was more of a bippity boppity rapper.
Speaking of bippity boppity rappers, can we talk about Family Matters? Because this song fucking sucks.
I think it's actually no. I want to ask you, Curtis, what's a better diss song? Towards Kendrick, Family Matters or Push Ups? Objectively,
I think they're, after a year now.
I said better, so one has to be better than the other.
Right. After a year, and I finally got to listen to it with a more, big magnifying glass. I think that they're equally ass. I think that one of them is more like Denny's pancake, and the other one is more like Jack in the Box pancake. I think.
I've never had a Jack in the Box pancake. That must be gross. Jack in the Box pancake.
It's terrible.
Sounds insane.
But if those are your choices, you're on the budget. I've been there. Yo, budget.
Yo,
you feel me? So like
the whole first verse is pretty much on the same sound,
the same end rhyme.
Yes.
He said,
"You know who really bangers said my nigga YG. You know who really bangers said my nigga CB.
AP, squeeze, please, free, believe, treat. I mean, this is boring. You're supposed to change up the fucking pattern. The whole fucking verse.
Can I make sure that I express it? Because I feel like I put something out there that is a viral bomb that is exploding in a lot of people's their brains are being like, wait a minute, what's going on? He's lying to me. No. It's not just about the end rhymes. It's the way that you string them together. What devices are you using to connect these end rhymes to each other? There's a difference between a rapper who is using these end rhymes in the midst of telling a story. There's a difference between somebody who starts with end rhymes and the end rhymes dictate their story. What's clever that I can put for excavation? Talking about Heart Part 6. Excavation. You was digging up bones like excavation. Okay, next. What's next? Destination. There's a different approach to where the rhyming, ironically, the same guy that said you're rapping like you're trying to get the slaves freed is a slave to his rhyme schemes.
3,000%. Thank you. I love talking to rappers. Because rappers understand it. This nigga put himself in a box rhyme scheme, and then here's the thing that tricks the listener. Just what he said. Just like the Metro niggas slimed him for a main squeeze. Out here begging for attention, niggas, say please. So like I told you about it being like almost like a fake internal rhyme. Main squeeze, say please. You sound like you're doing a more complicated rhyme scheme than just saying please, because you rhyme 2 words. Main squeeze, say please. That is a trick that a lot of rappers use because it sounds complicated to the ear and it feels pleasing, especially within that rhyme scheme. And it doesn't sound like I went to the block. We go to the shop. Exactly. So you get that, you get it off. But he's a slave to it.
On a song? Cool.
Yes.
Because Kevin is one of my favorite rappers, and he does a 2-syllable rhyme scheme that kind of follows that, but he's so smooth in his approach and the things that he's talking about that he's not a slave to the actual.
He
it sounds good because it's great for making songs, but you're in a battle with Kendrick Lamar. What are you doing? Get off a rhyme zone.
I mean, this nigga seriously suggests this song is in the same realm as Meet the fucking Grams. You better have some paperwork or that shit fake tea. Can't be rapping about no ratting that we can't read. I mean, it's true. A nigga slide before
calling something fake tea is crazy. No, that's like some fake tea.
Metro nigga slimed him for his main squeeze.
Can we focus back on that one with Toure? King Green, you just said something. Tell me if I'm lying. Is fake tea not one of them rhymes that might come to your mind and you're like, nah, that kind of weakens the scheme?
Nigga, I could rap. I would never say some stupid shit like that.
I'm saying when you're thinking about the quality of rhyming words that you have in your mind, you see fake tea, you're like, I wouldn't even say that in a real conversation. That's a stretch.
So what Kendrick does in Meet the Grams right away, I'm sorry that man is your father. Let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. So he's rhyming honest and responsive, which when they rhyme, when in his mouth, but no normal person would ever think I'm going to rhyme honest and responsive. And the next rhyme word is condom. And then he goes behind him. I mean, like it fits, but it's not like locked in fit. Like you're talking about slave to
proximate rhymes.
Proximate rhymes or slant rhymes. That's the thing that we're saying now. Even though we're going to do a video on this, I'm saying you just said condom, responsive, and honest, right? Fake tea, main squeeze. These just as words, your diction, your vocabulary is lesser than this other man's vocabulary. There's more use of harder or not harder, just more words in your diction for the rhyming words. And that's what we appreciate rappers. If you rap rat, squeeze, heed, leave, be, street, G's, you're not a good rapper.
Not that you're in rhymes. It should be internal rhymes if you're going to use
those. They should be internal rhymes. You're
in rhymes.
I mean, Nick, I want to hear the 7 different levels of devil worship in horses' heads, human sacrifices, cannibalism. It's my own rhyme. It's a gradual epidemic, the progression in predicate, lost minds of our youth.
And then Eminem's in rhymes are chaos and crayon. Who looks at chaos and crayon and say those rhyme?
Meet the Grams is doing what he says Drake is not doing, in that in the verse he's saying your father is not a father, he doesn't give you good advice, and then he's giving him good advice. It takes a man to be a man. Challenges in life always beat us home, right? Like mistakes our parents make affect us till we're grown. So he's giving him good advice. What the fuck is he talking about in fucking Family Matters? What is he talking about?
Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees.
You're out here.
And there's a level of sarcasm and mockery and irony to all that too. What Kendrick's doing.
You're just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Don't even go. What are you talking about?
He's a slave in rhymes.
I've been with black and white and everything that's in between. You're the black messiah wifing up a Nick. That was your hot bar.
You went to Target And he shot the rhymes.
I fucked everything, and your fucking partner is mixed. That's a hot diss.
Coming from somebody who mixed it himself.
It's an angle. Angle's part of rapping too. It's an angle, but it's a bad one. That's the unfortunate part. And the rapping is not good.
What angle is hands on your knees?
Which goes to what?
Kendrick that's the angle of he's out of his mind.
You don't understand the culture here. So often he comes off like, you remember the foreign exchange kid in the 80s movie, about the 80s high school movie, who didn't really understand what the native kids were talking about because he's in his second language. Of course, he doesn't really understand. Maybe he's from France, or quite often they were from China, Japan, but sometimes they were from France, where they don't really understand. That's what Drake is. He's not as slow as the kid in a second language, but it's kind of that point to where he would say some shit like this. I've been with black and white and everything in between. And like, what? Why is he pulling out his body count right now? Put your dick away. Like nobody's
because the people he's talking to have that same idiotic mind state and world viewpoint and don't have the actual brain capacity to think beyond this. There's not even a freaking simile in the first 27 lines. Not even a simile.
Because he don't know a simile got like her ass. He think a simile and metaphor are the same damn thing.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking. I'm looking just to make sure. I might be wrong. A metaphor, maybe one or two. An entendre, whereas like Kendrick gets to the entendre, even though it's a slight one, he gets to it like within like 8 lines. It's
when Drake gets a double entendre, it's like Shaq hitting a 3. When Steph Curry hits a 3, we say that's a bad motherfucker right there.
He did it again. He did it again.
Exactly. We gonna make you do. You gonna have to do it in Celtic speak. You gonna have to stop doing it in Lakers speak. You're gonna have to do all your.
Like Robert Parrish. It's like Robert Parrish hitting 5 threes in a row. It's like, yo, what's going on with Robert Parrish? What the hell is going on with Robert? When Larry Bird does it, you're like, well, that's Larry.
This nigga Drake said, "Your baby mama captions always screaming, 'Save me.'" Like
he's a slave to the end rhyme. He doesn't even know what that means. But we're exposing
it. But also like he's so online that the diss is your baby mama's fucking Instagram captions. Like Kendrick's like, I don't even go online. Like what? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Like
Kendrick said, "How about this? You're a terrible person." And let's explain.
I'm not as mad at that line as I am at the follow-up line after that. Your baby mama caption's always screaming, "Save me," meaning that she's in help if you're making this accusation about him. The next line is, "You did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace." That's the worst line. That is a wild out bar. You did her dirty all her life. You trying to make peace.
You're trying to make your marriage better.
You did her dirty all her life. You trying to make peace. You're gonna do it right until you run the rape G's. I love it.
You did bad by her before. You trying to be nice to her. I see what you're trying to do.
Oh, it's like, wow.
Imagine this was a Wildin' Out episode, and you got the bright lights, and then Kendrick goes, and all the lights go dim, and it's only one spotlight, and he's like, F all these people in attendance. I'd like to tell you about your character. Let's start with your relationship with your son. Let's start with your gambling addiction. What's going on with those 6-pack abs? Do you use Ozempic? Do you cheat like this your whole life? It just got real serious and dark out of nowhere, and that's what we got it. Meanwhile, Drake is trying to make people believe he was battling 20 people. All Drake said is, the reason why I'm an alcoholic is because there's too many liquor stores in my city. They keep building up liquor stores. It's not my fault. They keep building up liquor stores. Like, I'm not an alcoholic. Stop it, Drake. Just if he would have took his ball and left, went home, and came back and reappeared around this time, it might be a different conversation.
Speaking of that, one of my favorite bars in a battle, this is going away, but going to come back. Jadakiss was battling Beanie Siegel. Beanie Siegel. And this is like, these are two, like, you were talking about tough guys battling, so they're going to have their gun bars and all that. The best line to me in that was, I'll kick your ball over the fence to just let you know whose yard is this. That simple concept of like you being a disgruntled neighbor and saying like, I don't give a fuck about you. Get your fucking ball out of my yard. You're not. That simple idea and concept from a rapper that's from that life, but he still comes here with imagery and illusion, and that's not something that Drake did in the entire thing. Like, there's no actual examples in this thing, whereas like we talk about people from that life where you're trying to talk about that life with no rapping ability and no skill set being proven, but people who come from that life are showing you that I have that skill set.
That's also cultural reference too.
This end of the first verse of Family Matters, these bars go over Kenny's head no matter what I say. Boring, another short joke, whatever. You already done that. I know you like to keep it short, so let me paraphrase. Like fucking like what the fuck? Knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade. Okay. Nigga said, almost started reaching for my waist.
Should go.
What?
He said, So you messed it up. That's what.
But okay, but like
you messed it up. See, that's why it was. It was hard because he was like,
Like, what are we doing right now?
You know what it is, gentlemen. The people have been hypnotized for 15 years, and they're what is it called when you go cold turkey? And they're like, no. It's like the Johnny Cash movie. They're like, no, I didn't know. And they're fighting with these demons and realizing that they have been under a hypnosis. And now they're having to come to grips with it's just not that good.
It's not. It's whack. It's whack. It's whack. But you know what though? I don't understand the particular psychology of this fucking idiot Mal or whatever the fuck to get on fucking TV in front of a bunch of fucking people, the internet, and say obviously Family Matters is better than. What the fuck are you talking about? We're not even in the battle. The shit is not even happening right now. What is wrong with you?
The Family Matters, the best part, the best written, the best angles of Family Matters is all the shit that has nothing to do with Kendrick.
Sure.
The better vibes and rhymes. And that's the number one issue that I have with people who say that is like his better lines with, the lip lock, the cadence of you don't even be at home, you a souvenir in the gift shop type nigga. I didn't even do something with it. I just lip lock with it. That cadence was cool, and who he's talking about, what he's saying, I'm like, okay, I maybe see the angle, and the cadence was cool. But I'm like, who are we? This is not even about Kendrick anymore. I thought this was a battle that you were having because Kendrick's coming back. So why are you talking to somebody else and giving your best cadence and best beat to someone that has nothing to do with this? Because he's trying to prove the angle that it's him verse 20.
This is not good writing. This is nothing special about this song. And to act like this is obviously better than Meet the Grams is just
not like us is crazy.
Or not like it's just fucking stupid. And I don't even understand why people would listen to somebody who would repeatedly like if you're a Drake stan, then he's feeding what you want. But if you want to understand the actual reality of hip hop, what is this individual even talking about? It's like the Fox News of this shit.
Because they're cold. Let me get this analogy off. They're cold and they want to get next to a campfire. Right now, it's blazing hot for those who are on this side. We're having these conversations. These conversations are rich. I'm having a conversation with King, Green, and Toure about something that happened a year ago. There's not a whole lot of things I can tell you that happened a year ago that's not dealing with my family, my personal
1,500 people are watching us talk about it. 1,500
people. They want to come around because what are they talking about right now? Like it cannot be. It has to be a very sad existence for you to celebrate mediocrity the way that you do, to have to wait for numbers in order for you to get titillated and aroused. Numbers, sales is what do it for you. It's got to be a terrible life when you get bored at culture lessons, history lessons. It's got to be an insane type of living. When you're looking at the way these people talk about hip hop and you're recognizing that they're not hip hop fans. Punch said it. You're Drake fans. And what has he done for you to be proud of over the last year? So they're here. They're obsessed. That's why I stopped responding now. Not because I'm better than this. No. I see it now. Oh, this is what squatters sound like when you kick them out the house and the authorities have to kick them out. You've been here a long time. You were able to do
this
it
is
because
not your house.
It's not your house.
This is not. Look. I gave you a 2-month warning. You had enough time. This is not your house.
No,
the fuck out of here.
But they're like, but the heater in there works so well, and you guys are like having so much fun from the outside. It's like that scene in Home Alone. It's like that scene in Home Alone when he was trying to get the robbers to not go in the house, and he had that fake party. He was like, it's like, damn, that's like a party in there. Yes, it is, because we actually approach this with love for culture. Nobody's bigger than the culture.
Let's get to some super chats, because I think they feel like we're ignoring them, and we love these people. They're in here. They're really hooked it up. So, Kendrick told DJ Head he didn't lie about anything in Meet the Grams. He also had Elliot Wilson's daughterless Meet the Grams version removed. So, there's a difference between lying. Okay, it's still a song, and he created a narrative. He didn't actually talk to Adonis. So, that's not lying. It's just, but he created a story. He's talking to Adonis and saying, "Dear Adonis."
Hold the hell on. No. Right, I'm gonna let you get that. But let me address the elephant in the room. What is the name of this stream?
Why are you lying?
I never lied about the Lakers not being there. I just predicted that the Lakers. See, look at you. Look, we got to talk to you now. Not a magnifying glass on you, my boy. Go ahead, Toure. Go ahead. Get my light work.
I said that's not lying. No, I'm saying that's not lying.
He's talking as if a daughter exists. He's giving a specific age expectation. I believe 11, right? You've missed her 11th birthday. Like, this is when he first started talking about daughter in that verse, I was like, is this just symbolic of there must be other children out there? And then when he said 11th, I think you also were like, wait a minute. He's talking about a specific individual. Like, get to Google and get detective and find this person. But like, this is more than I'm not lying.
What if he's talking to an 11-year-old young lady with no relation to Drake or this whole situation, who can also relate to her dad being a deadbeat?
Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying that all these possibilities are on the table because we're talking about somebody who is a master at their craft.
I mean, the structure of the song is, I talk to your son, I talk to your mom, I talk to your dad, X verse, right, that we're talking about now, I talk to you. I mean, I don't understand how, I don't know what works in verse X beside I'm talking to your daughter.
No,
what do you mean verse X?
I said the song was about Adonis, then his mom, then his dad, then we're talking about who is the next verse to, and then to Drake himself.
No, I think he's talking about conceptually, or it could be a device to be able to tell people and women how to feel about a person who does all these things. The same way he says, "Dear Sandra, sit down."
Daughter is symbolic of women.
It is. General? No. It is symbolic of women in general, but I'm telling you that there is a direct truth of him talking to his daughter because he got information, all that. But I'm saying the way that he wrote it, he's using that in order to tell you this is how he treats women.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. In the same way that he tells, "Dear Sandra, sit down. This is going to get heavy." You're imagining him in the space where Sandra's there. He's creating a story. He's creating a scene.
This is the complexity of Meet the Grams.
Yes.
We could not have this conversation about Family Matters because it would fall apart like a stale cracker.
Oh no, we could talk shit about it for about 45 minutes for real.
We talk shit about it, but we could not deconstruct it and talk about like the way we're getting into the meaning of this verse and the symbolism, whatever. I mean, like these two are not comparable artistic gestures
at all.
This is not even close. So it's just ridiculous.
That's why it's funny to see him walk him down that way. To me, not to interrupt you, but that's me. That's why it's the funniest thing to see Kendrick, who it's not like he didn't show any of his density in his writing. Think about 616 in LA and the way that first verse played out and how he's writing. A lot of people say from the perspective of Drake.
Hold on. Cannabis wasn't gossiping. Wait,
what's his point to, Toure? What's his point to? I forgot.
He's going back to, I'm trying to make a point that hip hop battling was about I'm better than you as an MC, and the Pusha T Drake moment made it about I can find more gossip. I can find better gossip about you. Pusha T wins that battle by saying, here's what I have to say about that. Is that Jay-Z's not gossiping.
That's character deconstruction. Can we stop saying
I'm not talking about ether.
That's internet. That's internet. That's internet.
Internet is what created the gossip. Pusha T is telling you who this person's character is, and then using the world as we know it. The meme guy, he's using his powers against him because he's good at rapping and he found an angle. It's always been about angle since the inception. It's always been about angle. Whether something's gossip or not, it has to deal with audience. Angle is where you
takeover is different than what we're talking.
No, you have
about.
a different perspective. No, you talking about who did what with who did who and all that stuff. Anything can be looked as gossip. It depends on the audience. People can make things gossip.
See, that's an interesting example. But that is Jay talking to Nas. Nobody knows at the time, nobody knew what he was talking about. And only Nas and Carmen and their little crew would
let's define
know
gossip. Let's define gossip in this conversation. What do we mean by gossip? Are we saying that it's only something that's salacious with relationships, or what is gossip?
Something beyond the notion of I'm a better rapper than you. So when Pusha T said you are harboring a daughter, or when Kendrick says you are a pedophile, and gossip is not the right word, but it goes beyond I'm a better rapper than you, which is what I feel like Jay-Z and Nas were talking about.
So saying that I'm a tough guy and you're not a tough guy, that's not about being a better rapper. If I say I'm actually gangster and I actually have guns, you don't have guns, that's not saying you're a better rapper. That's just saying I'm actually a gangster and you're not. Correct?
Yes, that would be beyond
saying that your songs and albums suck.
Yes, but that would be outside the scope of saying I'm a better rapper than you, which was.
I think it evolved. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
This is the Drake effect in full mode. I hate that we're talking about a effing battle. What I say, whatever is said goes. Drake is the one after Control Verse that went on all these interviews and said, no, Crody, there's certain things that are off limits. He said it about Pusha T. No. There's certain things you just don't say. I've seen somebody get their head top popped off because what are you talking about? You suburban child, man. Get the hell out of here. This is a battle. Character deconstruction has been around since before rap, when it was the Dozens. Before the Dozens, when it was Shakespeare. It's been around here for a long time. It's been a part of the process.
That's what I'm talking about, Doomer.
I'm battling you. You ain't shit. Let me tell you all the ways you ain't shit. Has been around way longer than this. Now somebody comes in and says, I just don't like the way you said shit. And I think we need to really dissect this. I think it's gossip. Knock this shit off, please. This is
I agree with that.
Jay-Z had to back off of the battle when he said the line about leaving condoms on a baby seat and super ugly, because then it started to get to a place where it's like, okay, that's my line. But let that be in the middle of a battle today. Nobody's stopping a battle for that.
Facts.
I've heard worse. We've heard so many worse things in a battle.
Well, the thesis of no Vaseline is what Drake tried to do in push-ups, but he couldn't pull it off. Ice Cube pulled it off, and Drake couldn't make it work.
We are not making Drake sound worse.
So now we're the ghostwriters for his accountability.
we proved without a doubt, just stacking lyrics, that there's just more rapping and devices and functional rhyme patterns on one end than there is on the other.
Who is listening to? Do people hate watch Mal? Like, I don't understand. Are people listening to this person and thinking that he actually knows about hip hop, or is it comedy? Is it irony? Like, I don't watch, so I don't understand. I watch Joe Budden. I don't watch Mal and Rory or whatever the fuck. So like, I don't understand. Like, is it meant to be ironic when is he playing a role? Like, he's playing the Drake lover who's like this ridiculous caricature? Because it's
part of the camp, though. He's part of the camp. You gotta stick up for your guys. I'm not even mad at him if that's his guy.
This is ridiculous. That's glazing. That's what glazing looks like to you.
Can I? That's crazy. Can I throw a name in here that's going to disrupt something real quick?
No, the way Toure pulled that out, he was so happy to get to call.
I know they've been lighting them up in them comments with that. I know what they've been saying. They say it to me every day. I know they have. That's glazing. I said it's crazy. A year later, Drake fans are still obsessed with two terms: dick riding and glazing. Do you understand when you say that? When I say a word, I have to get a visual because I'm a visual person. And then you're sending that visual to another grown man and saying, I want you to visualize this. Why would you put that in somebody's head?
Wait. What is the visual that you are trying to put it, or that you think of is attached to glazing?
I don't even want to go there.
Why did Toure do that? Like,
why would you do that? See,
I thought it was just me.
I think about Krispy Kreme donuts. I think about Krispy Kreme donuts. That's what I think of.
You know you don't.
Drake, the type to use Grammarly to write rhymes. Let's get some more super chats because this is
Drake definitely uses Grammarly to write rhymes. I would like Green. Did you want to help us with the question that Curtis didn't want to answer?
No, I'm not. I don't entertain you when you start talking about things I don't want to talk about. Have y'all noticed the rappers media mad that rappers got to actually rap now? That way, the way it's going. Oh, the way that it's going. That's why people like Thug Baby, Mal, and Akadiddy are spiraling. Yes, I do think there is a concept within people saying, "Did you hear this idea?" Is people like, "Oh, rap's not fun anymore. Everybody's being too serious." It's like when rap is actually fun. It's like we're actually thinking now, and I'm having fun. Yeah. I'm having a whole lot of fun. It's 1,500 of us just partying together, talking about rap.
I don't get celebrated for me.
No, we actually liked it when someone dropped the song Friday. We danced to it until Sunday, and we forgot about it, and we're waiting for the next one on Friday. That's what we really miss. We're really missing. I want a new song every day that I could forget. That's what I really want. That's what I really want. You know what I'm saying? Bars I don't remember.
I got to think and go to quality over quantity. Wait a minute. I got to pay for studio time. I can't record this from my phone.
You think it was made during the same time the puppet and piano era? No. Wait, hold on. Did you talk to Punch, or has anyone heard from Head specifically talking to the idea that we heard that Kendrick made 10 songs in one session? That session included Euphoria, Meet the Grams, not like a 616 plus 5 songs we haven't heard yet. Do we have? Is that like? Do we have any clarification on that idea?
I asked Punch about if he heard the other songs, the other 5 in stock, and he said he didn't hear those. I'm waiting to hear from Dot now. Or I'm waiting to hear from him about those things, because even Head said something along the lines of, he went into one session and he just blacked out and did he just went into it.
Right.
But then I talked to Bunch and he was like, everybody thought it was so serious with him and he was mad. He's like, niggas grew up in Compton. This ain't no real danger.
Right. No, I understand that. The notion that he did 10 in one session, perhaps over 2 days or 1 day or whatever, like that sounds legendary. And I think that's an interesting part of all this. If that's how
I would love to hear about that process if it actually happened. That'd be crazy.
I think we've heard some of the 10 on GNX.
10 songs in one session would be pretty incredible. Right?
I think Reincarnated was one of the 10.
I think Peekaboo's one of the 10.
That would be an amazing song.
That would be crazy. Saying that they were all specifically about Drake.
No, but you could easily change the.
That's what I'm saying. You could change the song. Let's give an example. Say Reincarnated was, okay, you want to do that silly shit with Taylor Made? Let me show you how to really embody Pac. That's what he did on Reincarnated. Now he can change that to a storytelling situation, and now he's telling these stories of these different artists, black artists through history.
Oh wow! If he did the first, second verse, because we just did a breakdown of Reincarnated, which you guys should go check out. If he did the first, second verse, and you're talking about the history of black music in American music, which was so specific, like we said, it's about blues going into American music, and then proving that you are not like us because this is the violence and pain and struggle that we come from, and you are not like us in the third verse, that's another deconstruction level type of disaster that would make me never listen to Kendrick Lamar again. I'd be like, I can't listen to you, bro. Who decides to go through the history of black music to show how you're not like us? I can't deal with that right now. I'm turning my camera off.
I do recall hearing about 48, 47 weeks ago that there would be a Kendrick Pusha T song. And like that was supposed to be some nuke. And you can only imagine on the Clips album. Say again?
It's supposed to be on the Clips album.
Okay. I mean, like, what's up? I want to hear that. I need that.
The Clips album is not done yet. That's the whole thing, and they're trying to figure out.
Album 2025. Can we just like we're talking rap right now, and we get a Clips album. We're talking about bars.
No Fury.
We're talking about how
probably
quality
one of my
of
favorite
bars
albums
low. And then the listeners in here are excited about the evolution and the high art being on full display. I'm just happy to be alive.
Right?
It's great time for rap. Even if it's one guy at the full on top, I'm still hearing fucking verses from Doechii on a West Side Gun track. Yeah. That is amazing. Doechii's verse on there, she slid so fucking hard. Y'all heard that song, right?
And it's Tyler, and it's Larry Jude and 2 Chainz, and it's, I mean, like a lot is happening right now.
A lot of rappers are rapping.
Art with care and effort, because everybody ain't rapping. Like everybody can't. That's not their wheelhouse, right? But I hear what you're saying, and that's their people. The rappers are showing up, but folks who are making music with care, time, and intent. Oh yeah, the other folks are having issues because it's like you need to evolve. You've been getting away with murder for the last 10 some odd years. It's okay. It's time to evolve now. What do you mean you're afraid to make music? It's what you do for a living. It's changed. It would have happened even if this didn't happen. Something would have evolved into something else because the direction it was going, rap was getting deprioritized for Afro beats and for Latin music.
You know, I think part of the problem to what Curtis is pointing toward, I think part of the problem comes from something down below. I usually want to look for problems coming from the top, but I think that when hip hop gets an increase in white or suburban audience, then you see music that is not necessarily sharply reflecting our culture authentically. That music is downgraded, right? So you see the rise more of a Drake rather than a Kendrick. And when you have more black people, you know, people who really care about hip hop paying attention, then you see the rise of a Kendrick and the downgrade of a Drake. So the entire sort of history of hip hop sort of flows around that, about like which group is paying more attention to hip hop at any given time. And I think for sure Kendrick has brought a lot of attention, a lot of black people like back in the door and back wanting to pay super close attention to this thing.
Do you think it's about paying attention versus the person also? I think that's obviously a part, obviously. But 50 Cent they were paying attention to Eminem. Eminem brings on 50 Cent and completely changes the culture of hip hop almost instantly because he has the eyes of global, right? Mainstream white America, then going global because of Eminem. And now 50 Cent allows, even though he was not letting niggas from New York get no money, but 50 Cent allows, I think, for the ability of how the South wave came into the mainstream, because they're like, oh, rappers from a real perspective. I want a rapper that looks like this. I need people that look like this to be my rap. And he's
a New York rapper who does not rap like a New York rapper. He's not about bars. He's not lyrical at all. And he's not trying to be lyrical. It's kind of like
great songwriter. Yeah.
An LA, yes, great songwriter, but not super lyrical. It's kind of like the caricature we used to have of LA, or the expectation we had as New Yorkers of the South when that was first coming out, we didn't think much of them. We like longer phrases, right? Internal rhymes, Rakim, all that shit. 50 Cent is generally short rhymes, right? He would be more to the side of Drake, right, than of a Kendrick, a Nas, a Jay-Z. But it's super poppy, it's super catchy, and he still had the sense of authenticity and realness that we flowed with him, that we respected him because he was really, really in the streets, almost lost his life in the streets. But the music was never, you know, it's interesting. He got us to, because the pre-release
the music was never what?
Say again.
You said the music was never. I didn't.
He was never super lyrical. He's not.
Oh yeah, my bad.
But he tricked us too, because the pre Get Rich or Die Trying music was very street and very hood and very like in the pocket of what the streets were all about. And it was and then the when he came out, he cleaned up a little bit, right? Like he wasn't as grimy as he was. So he kind of cleaned up a little bit, but he was never lyrical. He was never with what other New Yorkers were doing.
Well, I've never met, I don't know a whole lot of folks from Jamaica, Queens. I'm curious though, since, you know, I know y'all are more traveled with these type of things. Do you think there's people from Jamaica, Queens that'll be like, oh, he's a Jamaica, Queens nigga, like through and through, like he sounds like one, he represents that voice. Yeah. Well, and in that regard, I feel like that also was a changing of the guard of what the masses were also moving towards. And it's funny because the Canon event was the beef that he had with Ja Rule. Right, Ja Rule, you're coming out of an era where it's more sing-songy. You're coming out of an era where it's more, you know, an emphasis on certain type of topics of relationships, R&B, right, and rap. And then he comes in and he does.
Your story didn't matter, right?
And to me, when I listen to that, I don't, like I said, I know a few New Yorkers. I was like, he sound like that sound like some New York shit I ain't heard in a minute. It's not New York in the sense of the greatest lyricist. But I was like, the same way I'm looking at like Lefty Gunplay, to me is not one of the greatest lyricists out here. But I'll be damned if he don't sound like a brown man from the West Coast, or a Latino from the West Coast. I know so many of the homies that sound like him, talk like him, rap like him, and I'm like, that means something to folks, even more so than just the authenticity. The connection means just as much to them as lyricism might mean to us.
And when we say super lyrical, I think we're talking about like the difference between, we were talking about the density of a Kendrick Lamar, where you're getting all these type of devices that we could pull out, allusion to metaphors and all that stuff, versus 50 Cent might not have all that density, but he's narrative ability, his ability to draw you in with topics, his conceptual writing. He's a great writer. Like, don't ever get that twisted. So you a gangster, but you never pop none. He is giving you the swag of something that's down south, but he can't help but have like a New York accent with the swag of something that's like a down south bar, and that's why it was so beautiful. You got to study. There is a little bit of this history of 50 that's really, really critical. Remember How to Rob, his first joint, and he sounds like the Mad Rapper. Right. Yes, he sounds like a Mad Rapper.
Very clean out the mouth, right? It's kind of like a trumpet, almost like kind of bright, and that would not fit with the ill person who 50 was trying to present himself to be. When he gets shot in 9 times, one of the bullets he showed me goes into his jaw. So about 3. If you think of your mouth like a clock, and in front of your mouth is 12 o'clock, it's about 9 o'clock. He's missing like a finger-sized chunk out of his gum. So the gum makes like a squarish U that he's just missing a chunk. And maybe he's gotten this fixed since. This is when he was doing Get Rich or Die Trying. But that hole in his mouth made his sound much more ill and ominous and like lower and like completely, you can hear a complete difference between the first record and where he goes later. And when he gets to like Ghetto Quran and he's explaining like what's going on in the hood and Supreme did this and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fucking ill. And there's very few situations in hip hop where we see somebody's instrument change like that, like, and we have it recorded. And it's amazing to watch.
He also became fearless
that way. Yeah,
facts. It also made him fearless in the sense that
how did Rob
the melody?
He's
no.
the whole industry.
That's fearless in a whole different other way. That's your culture. That's who you are. I'm talking about as a character, an instrument, and a musician, an artist. There's nothing in the world can make you be fearless as an artist other than creating art. Just because you could go out, someone kill in the street, but you're gonna come in the booth and you're gonna start rapping like the person that you like. You cannot find yourself without putting in the work to find yourself. So that's what I mean. As an artist, he was sounding like Mad Rapper or the people that he likes. These are the people I like, so I gotta sound like this. He started singing when other niggas was not singing because as an artist, he became fearless. He's like, I got nothing but he became fearless as an artist to try different things. He was not doing what other street niggas was doing. Ja Rule's doing that shit, but he's not talking about the same thing. He's not being authentic and having a story that he's presenting to people. Ja Rule's singing, other people sang before him, but no one sang like 50 Cent when he came in. That was a whole different breed. He brought a whole new sound and tried something new. And I think that's something that you only develop by actually trying as an artist, that courageousness to find yourself.
I got a little pushback for that only because I feel like there's a difference between the first year of King Green, the first year of Curtis King, and now whatever year you're in today, right? I think that some of that comes where life starts kicking some of that vibrancy out of you. Life starts like general wear and tear on all of that exuberance and wet behind the ears. Like I think that life does that in general, where when you're listening to 50 Cent, it doesn't sound like a humbled one. To me, it sounds like I know exactly how I'm gonna get you niggas back. You thought I wasn't gonna have a voice. To me, I see the difference in how to rob between that and what you get on Get Rich or Die Trying. Sounds like somebody who went through a life-changing experience, almost lost his life, and now there's a level of calm, there's a level of patience, because you almost lost your life. There's no way I can look at that and say that has no effect on somebody. No, some other artists, yeah, you're right. There's some other artists that can get beat up, they can get shot, and they can still sound as terrible as they did before. I'm saying I do think that plays a role because LL Cool J is evidence of that. LL Cool J has been able to redefine himself because if he used the same tonality that he had and Mama Said Knock You Out and something like a Phenomenon, people would laugh at. They would have laughed at him. But he changed his
something
tone.
Like Phenomenon. I hate that song.
But I'm saying like whatever you want to choose. I'm just saying like there's different eras that he's been able to do it because he's figured out how to change the tone.
Yeah.
That tone happens when you're sitting and you're like, okay, I can't bring this style of rapping. I can't do that.
See,
do that in 2025.
50 and Ja Rule was similar to Drake and Kendrick in that 50 was like, this is authentic hip hop. You're on top commercially, but I'm going to out culture you and win the hearts of the people because I'm with the people. I'm doing real hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think about like, that's cool. And the game came behind and was like, well, I'm actually more street than you, nigga. But just right now, it occurs to me, if DMX for some reason had said, I want to battle 50 Cent, that would have been fucking ill. And they are similar vibes. But I think that DMX
I don't think you could beat DMX.
You can't beat DMX.
More
I don't think
street and more ill.
Crazy.
And you talk about 50 is powered by a traumatic incident. Absolutely. And there's a couple between the death of his mother when he's young, which sends him into the streets. And then, of course, getting shot. But DMX's entire childhood is one long traumatic incident.
When did it stop?
DMX
even up to his last years. When did it ever stop? He was getting messed by the law. He was like, there's a lot of things going on with that man.
When DMX gets into the industry, his life calms down. Suddenly he has money. He's moving around on his own will.
DMX is going through a lot.
No, but he's in an.
You're talking about street-wise?
Yeah, well, he's in an institute as a child. He's in an institute. His mother sends him away into an institution for many years after she beats him, and I think there's a man who beats him all, but she would come and beat him, and he'd be like, "Why are you beating me?" And he's a street nigga robbing people. Like, he had a very difficult life before the industry. And I'm not
Toure,
saying
you know that DMX. You know that DMX is on my list of rappers that you just can't really battle. I 3000% agree with you. There's nothing you can say to DMX to assassinate his character. His life's on Front Street. His flaws, his hood beginnings.
His pain is so much that you can't. And
what are you gonna do?
Curtis made a great point about the traumatic incident happening to 50, and that propels him in his life. And I think also, like I said, the death of his mother when he's young is the traumatic incident that really propels him into who he would become as 50 Cent. He doesn't get shot in the street, probably, if his mother doesn't die and he becomes a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. But the traumatic incident propelling you as an artist, X has that exponentially over 50 and most people.
Yeah, I don't know if that matters. It's more so how you kind of convey, because some people take traumatic things and they completely fall apart, right? Some people can't move forward and they can't take this. It's the fact that that guy who had that traumatic experience made the lines, "I got blood on my hands and there's no remorse. I got blood on my dick because you know the rest." That isn't a crazy, like, what are we?
The fact that you censor yourself after you said that is crazy.
I can't say it.
No,
I can't say it.
You already said it. You already said it.
Reed, you're gross. You should go wash your hair.
Wait, can I remind you that DMX one time said the industry, and it's not the same. The industry is not a effing game. The industry, real niggas is dying to get in. The industry, just to find they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. He made a whole spoken word piece about the industry, and the trauma that comes along with the industry on Deaf Poetry. Like, so I don't think it's slowed down for DMX. I think, if anything, he talks about his struggles that he had with drug addiction. Yes. You mean now I have more money than I had before?
Yes.
And more access?
Yes.
And people giving me these things for free because I'm DMX? I can't imagine. Like, I wouldn't say I hate comparing traumas, but I will say, that grade of trauma is very different than, I'm sure, anything that he endured. It prepared him for this moment. But damn it, the devils that exist in this industry, I can't imagine what that does. Seeing him, I hate seeing that interview of him, I think in an Arizona prison where he had like a pink jumpsuit on. I look at that and I'm like, they're trying to crush this man's spirit. In any way they can.
When he showed up in Top 5, in Chris Rock's movie Top 5, and he was in prison, and you were like, yeah, that tracks. That was freaking nuts. That we're sitting here looking at him as I do also remember 50 Cent's iconic Breakfast Club. DMX's iconic Breakfast Club, where he's like, I hate Drake. I hate it.
Which is inspiration for that Euphoria line, right?
You can talk.
Yeah. First. DMX was just the truth. The voice, the tone, the story, the narrative, him talking to God, the Damien series, he's going to destroy you in a battle, make a song about a woman, make a party song that everybody in the world could dance to, and then pray after, all on one album, and it made perfect sense for us. DMX was incredible.
Ironically, DMX and 50 Cent came in at times when the industry went through something that softened it up. Right? East Coast versus West Coast. Excuse me. East Coast versus West Coast. And then the piece that followed, and everybody got, all friendly and wanted to be careful about the things they said about one another. And then you get the raw nature of DMX coming through, and it's a voice that was missed. Dang, 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 dang. It was a sound that was like, it was needed for that time because it got too soft. 50 Cent came in after the Ja Rule R&B era, which I still say justice for Ja Rule, but that was a time period where music got very, very soft.
Ja Rule's the fucking Drake of this analogy. I'm trying to remember the whole fucking.
No, he's not. No, I will not let you. 100%. No, he's not.
He's more R&B-ish than Drake ever was. Okay. He was unabashedly R&B.
On that note, first of all, he didn't sing. I'm gonna just say that he kind of rap sing. I'm gonna say this.
Where would I be without you? That's pretty much singing, dude.
Yeah, my God, blood. Justice for Ja Rule. Justice for Ja Rule. You know why? Because when it was time for him to rap battle, he didn't sue nobody. He created a whole album dedicated to this is to 50 Cent.
Wait, I'm trying to remember the whole fucking story. Maybe I'm driving in the car with DMX in LA. He's driving, and we're driving down Sunset real fast, too fucking fast. I'm nervous. And he goes, and there's two bodyguards with us. So I'm sitting directly behind him. He's driving. There's two big, huge bodyguards. And he goes, yo, you can't fart in the whip. I had not farted. But I'm not going to tell him I didn't do it. Like, that's some bitch ass shit to be like, I just met you yesterday. I'm not going to say, and I'm just like, if you just say nothing, just say nothing. But he keeps going because I didn't say I didn't do it. Now I've tacitly admitted it. So he's like, yo, nigga, you can't fart in the whip. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, is he really mad? Is he going to throw me out of the car? Like,
wait, this is Ja Rule or DMX?
DMX.
Oh, yeah, you don't say shit. You don't say shit, but a sorry.
And then I noticed the two bodyguards are laughing their ass off because he's roasting me on this. But I'm still like, is he really gonna? And then he says, and then the bodyguard says, yo, X, the hotel is the other way. And you know how it'll be like 4 lanes on Sunset, and it'll be like just yellow. And it was late. He just brought a break. We didn't really stop. We just, like in a movie, like the car went and it hit 180 and then went, and I'm grabbing the side of the seat. Oh my God, we're gonna get it. The bodyguard saw that I was gripping and kind of told him that I was gripping the seat, and he's like, "You're such a fucking bitch."
Toure, is it possible that you were so nervous that you pulled it?
I did not, but he let one out. And then he goes, I wish I had my license. And I'm like, does he mean like on him or like that he has a driver's license? And of course, when I got home, I researched, and he does not have a driver's license whatsoever in the world. He's just out driving, breaking laws and shit. That was a very stressful day.
I would have farted. I'll tell you that right now. I get nervous. I fart. If I get that nervous, I for sure would have let one out.
DMX I don't like being no whip.
Sorry, sir.
Driving that fast. Yeah.
Screwface
says DMX told Jay-Z, I'll put pin stripes across your windpipe. They was wise to leave that man alone. That is facts. DMX walked around with razor blades in his mouth. That's that old school New York shit. Yeah, that's some old school street New York shit. Like niggas walk around with razor blades in their mouth. Drake has no story to tell. That's why you only hear basic rap about sex, money, and drugs, no substance. Yeah, he's trying to fill the void that he has.
he lived his rap story in front of our eyes.
Yeah. I just want to make certain of something, Curtis, because me and Green have talked about this before, but you and I haven't talked about this before. Is the world a circle to you, or is it flat?
Here I am preparing myself for a really crazy hip hop question, and I'm priming my answer.
No, this is hip hop. This is hip hop right now. This is where hip hop is right now.
Yeah.
Is the world flat or is it a globe?
There's a lot of rappers talking about this.
And do you think 100 men could beat up a gorilla?
Man, that one might be more interesting. I don't think the world is flat. No, I don't.
Okay. Yes. All right. We can continue talking.
We continue having him on our show. That's hilarious.
No, but I have started in the car with DMX? Absolutely, if he was driving that crazy. It would have sounded just like that too.
Shat tire. Shat myself.
Yeah, I'd have sharted for sure.
Completely.
Sorry, Mr. X. Can you take me home?
I do feel bad for Mark out there arguing with Ish, talking about, I think the world is flat, and that's just the way I think about it. And science has been wrong in the past. So I would pull my hair out if somebody was that, they were wrong about COVID, so maybe they're wrong about the earth. Like, What?
You can't argue with a person like that. But the one statistic that kills me is that 39% of people in America believe the Earth is not round. It's not a sphere.
No.
I swore that's what I saw somewhere.
No,
39%. But
No,
check.
no.
I don't know.
I'm gonna check. There's no
Or
way.
question it. It's not that they question if the Earth is a sphere. There's just so much proof.
I saw a stat that said that 70% of the people that you engage with online probably have an emotional IQ between 8 to 12 years old.
Well, an emotional IQ. Sense. Well, yeah, you're talking to men. Yeah, that'd be pretty old for a lot of men.
When I saw that, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna stop talking to people. Just leave you alone. These are not a jury of my peers."
No, that was the thing we talked about that the other day. That I saw a video. This sister said, "Men are attracted to women; they don't like them."
Oh, I did see that debate. Oh, I did see that debate.
That's a good topic, and we talked about it. I want to talk about that with a woman, but I agree that there's a lot of men. Think about it. There's a lot of men in relationships.
Wait. He said the world is flat.
Oh yeah, he paid $5 to tell us that crazy shit.
Fly over it any other way, and good luck. The world is. Is this person serious?
I hope he's trolling.
The world is flat like the cheeks on the Family Matters song. It is ass. It is all ass.
I don't know who this is. I just put.
Why y'all get so quiet when he popped in? They were like, "Hey, Curtis, between you and him."
Yeah, I was reading it.
Hey man, look. I'm a fair person, man, but I if you got blocked, I believe them. I believe my moderators. Hey, no harm, no foul. I don't know you personally, so don't take it personally. I don't take it personally. I ate breakfast the next day and forgot it happened. It's all good, man. Shout out to you, man. Hey, man, keep living life.
Planes do not hot. I don't know why. Okay, just real quick, because this stuff does frustrate me. People be talking about planes and stuff like that. Why don't two points? This should be for everybody, but it probably doesn't.
Wait, are we really getting flat earthers in our chat now?
Yeah, that's crazy. If you're looking at the ocean and a boat keeps going that way, after a while, you will no longer see the boat.
Right.
Things only disappear when they drop off. Smart
horizon.
People.
Right.
Second thing. When you look at you ever see the lunar eclipse?
Hold on, Reed. Don't try to prove it to them. Find out why they think that.
Stop educating people. Stop educating them.
Educate them. What's wrong? Why they think the world is flat? Please tell me why you think. Please tell me why you think the world is flat. I want to hear your freaking reasons why the world is flat.
Because I just think so.
I want to hear the evidence why the world is flat.
I found a good reasoning right here.
There's a rapper that I know that said that it is.
Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
It's a well-known source.
Drake.
Flat earthers are Drake fans. That's why.
Easy money.
We got it. We're done. Yeah. We're done with the discussion. They like They like Family Matters more than Meet the Grams. Therefore, the earth is flat.
Meet the Equator. We got them.
Meet the Equator.
Meet the Equator is crazy. Yo, that's a beautiful one. What is this?
Oh, big you stupid. You stupid.
That's kind of how I took the story too. Toure farted in that van. He's still lying about it.
I did tell that story while he was alive. That story was definitely in the story. For sure.
Ray, remember that time you was farting in the car? Yeah, you was farting in the car. I know you were. I smelled it. You fall in the car. I know the smell of a foreign fart. Foreign fart in a foreign car.
Guys, there's 1,400 people in here listening to us talk about farting in the car.
You got to hear DMX, or see if you could do DMX talk in KB Toys, calling his son, saying, "What do you want me to buy you?" And the kid's like, "I don't know." And he's describing all the toys in the store. You can get anything you want. And the guy, I don't know. Too many choices. He was just like, whatever you want, kid. And the kid's like, I don't know what to ask for. It was it's the fucking cutest thing ever. Oh my God.
Oh man. Rest in peace.
Amazing. Do we want to talk? Do we touch on the Andrew Schultz? Just talking about You want to just hate on Andrew Schultz for no reason?
We're just gonna skip over that attracted to they don't like women thing.
I want to hear Curtis on that. But wait, did we not have flat earthers in the chat? I want to hear their evidence.
No one said anything. I feel like they lost all their bravery after we laughed so much.
You scared them away. Green, you scared them away with your logic and your facts.
Yeah, logic. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
It fell off the face of the earth.
Curtis, do you think? Try to see the man question outside of yourself, right? Because there's a lot of noise and bias when you see it within yourself. Although there is, if you can, there is value to looking internally. But do you think men in general like women apart from being attracted to them?
I think there's a statement that is true for a lot of Drake fans. I'm not even joking right now. I have a theory.
I love how we do this. We could just always get connected.
Shout out to my dog Ariel Smoke in the building. I have a theory, and I want to call it the Myron effect. That there's rappers out here right now that are convinced that they make music for women, but it's only for guys who are fans of the avatar of a customized woman they've created in their head. They don't make songs for women. They make songs for menses. Songs for menses. Who made an album called that? I don't know. They make songs that are like their lady. Go listen to a up and coming rapper and listen to the way that they describe their dream girl. Their dream girl is literally a mannequin who you support my dreams. You always looking out for me. You always saying how great I am. Girl, you know what I do? I put my thing right on your box like an Xbox. Like they saying these things that they would never say to a woman's face. They've never talked to a woman. You can tell they haven't. And they're always the superhero in their. I walk in the club and all of them come flocking to me, but I don't want them. I want you. No, nigga, you are making songs for other men who wishes this is how it played out.
Oh, for sure. For a long time, I felt like Drake isn't really talking to women. He's talking to men about what he would do with women, and men who don't get that many women are responding to that. But like, I was like, you only seem like you're talking to women.
That's why I call it the Myron effect, only because when you look at his events that he has, because he's super like, what is it called? Red pill or whatnot. Or the incel group. All you see is you got a room full of men. I use that loosely. A room full of men that want to learn about women in a room full of men. They want to be talking about women in a room full of men, and they're paying thousands of dollars to be here. I saw a guy that said, I had to leave that community. And he said, you know what made me actually change my point of view? When I got off the internet and I went outside. I wish I saved that video. The guy said, I went outside and saw men and women don't actually hate each other as much as it may seem on these Pop the Balloon videos, as much as I see in these back and forth and these Myron shows. And he said that's one perspective that does exist out there, but it's amplified by the internet and timeline and algorithm that I have. He went outside the grass and he said, I have a different perspective now that challenges the one I had before.
Yes. Also, if we were asked to, let's go have dinner with 3 or 4 women you are not attracted to, you are not related to, you are not making money with, you'd probably be like, really?
What doesn't, I mean, not even trying to be like all diplomatic, but doesn't that apply to like 3 dudes that I don't know?
I don't know. I think you could find, like, I bet that.
What did you say? You just said a dinner with women that I don't know, that I'm not attracted to, that I'm not doing business with. I wouldn't want to go hang out and have that dinner with them. Whereas a dinner with 3 dudes that I don't know and don't want to do business. I don't want to do that with anybody. Why am I there? Why am I there, Toure?
I'm just trying to make an example of. I think that we tend to like being around other men, right? Just inherently, right? Like, and that doesn't mean any pause type level shit, but like the way that men communicate, we like that. And not that you don't have to like every man, but like hanging out with 3 or 4 guys and watching the game. If we were going to watch the game, and I'm telling you, I'm bringing 3 guys you don't know, you'd be like, and we're all.
I have a problem with you.
The Dodgers, or the Lakers, or whatever it is. Like, we watching the game. Like,
Toure,
like all good. Like, do we? I mean, like, do you? I mean, Green, we agreed. I think Curtis is agreeing. Like, as in general, men don't want to hang out with women if there's not an ulterior motive as far as money or something sexual.
I can't say I agree with that. Let me close this loop first, because I didn't close the loop earlier. Yeah. I do think there is a segment of men who only want women because of other men who are going to look at them as the man. I do think that exists. I think there are men who are attracted, but they have never taken the time to actually get to know what it is that the actual value of a woman that they're talking to beyond their looks. They won't even look beyond that. They don't want to have those conversations. They don't want to see what their brand of sense of humor is. They don't want to see the things that are their talking points, their pain points. And I think that comes with maturity. I'll be real, a whole stack with you. When I was younger and horny, and trying to find my way, I think me being first of all, me being a older brother of younger sisters, majority only got one brother. Me living in a household with my moms and
how many sisters?
I got 4 sisters.
Wow.
So like I've always had to like have a different perspective on this. However, when I got into the world, before when I was in middle school and I wasn't getting no kind of like play, they was looking at me like, oh yeah, and I finally started getting play. I was such a horn dog. I didn't look beyond the depths of things. Let me finish this off. I didn't look beyond the depths of things. The more that I matured, and when I got into a relationship, that was when it was the easiest for me to find friendship with women, because now there is no ulterior motives that can be possible because I'm not cheating on who I'm with. As I've gotten here into this space now, don't be saying Cougar King. Yeah, I was a Cougar King at one point in time. I'm gonna tell you, my Cougar era definitely made me appreciate women a whole lot more, because I said, "Oh my God."
But I think we're talking about the generalization of men, though. I see what Toure was talking about, though, because I told him, we were talking about this before. If you say men and you think about yourselves and your group of friends and the people that we know, you might have an elevated sense of men who are not in the patriotic. That was not the word. Patriarchal mind state. Whereas I'm talking about like a group of dudes at the basketball court most likely don't have good female friends that are not something that are either used to be romantic or are now romantic, or they're their family members or their boys, girl, things like that. It's usually not that way, right? Given the society at large. And I do think men as men, a generalization of men, what he's saying is like men go play basketball with other men, right? Men go to this event with other men. You do these things with men usually, and it's not in the same way or expected to invite women into these spaces. And I think that's what you're saying, right, Toure? Right?
Well, I think that there's
a generalization.
I think there's many ways that we can see it, in that when you pull away attraction, which I had never really thought about it that way. You look at women all the time, you're like, oh my God, I'm so attracted and I'm so brought in because of the shoes, the hair, the lipstick, whatever the thing that grabs you. You're like, she's so this or that, whatever. And when you pull that away, and then you're like, like, are you real? Do we like have like female friends who we're not trying to sleep with? Do we think about, women, like we could all like quote like Malcolm X or Jay-Z or whatever, but do any of us quote a woman thinking on anything ever? We love sports. We would probably watch all sorts of things. Maybe we might watch Australian rugby when we're freaking tired and it's 2 a.m. or some shit. But like, would you watch the WNBA? Or are you like, no, they can't dunk? Like,
yes.
Well, you're participating in that. And like you
might
answer yes to one of those questions, but I think as men, like we tend to look down on women and women's things and don't even totally realize it. And then it's like, we in general don't really like them. We are just attracted
I don't think so. I think that exists, Toure, but let me give you an example. Two guys sitting in the room right now. Man, what's your dream girl, man? My dream girl, man, like, she a baddie. Okay, I hear you. She thick. Yeah. Man, like, she's into, like, playing, like she's into gaming. Oh, she a gamer girl? Oh, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, she, man, she just, like, she funny and shit. Like, you feel me? Oh, you're kind of like you. Yeah, they're kind of like you. She funny. And, like, I don't know. Lately, I've been feeling short hair. Oh, you mean kind of like this? Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of like that.
And she'll eat wings with you.
These niggas want niggas. Yeah. And you just stop acting like they want. The thing is, the reason why this exists for some segments of men, and taking myself out of it, is because they like niggas and they need to stop lying about it. They just don't want to say that out loud. What do you mean? There's so many things to be attractive about a woman. The first time I started to really see the sense of humor of women, I said, oh, that is attractive to me.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, this is going to sound crazy because I'm like, she ain't a baddie, but I love Lucy. I was like, this shit is actually kind of attractive.
You was attracted to Lucille Ball?
I was for a second. The sense of humor had me.
I can't even front because I was attracted to Fran Drescher and I didn't even
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh, you talking about the nanny? We rocking with the nanny.
You too? You rocking with the nanny?
Yeah, I'm rocking with the nanny. Yeah.
I thought I was the only one.
No, hell no. Yeah. But I'd say this, my point I wanted to make is this. The last point I want to make is this, is that there are so many other things. There's a myriad of things that are attractive about a woman, to the point where I enjoy the company. Even when my wife has her friends, I enjoy just being in that company, not because I want anything from anybody, but because I genuinely appreciate it. My audience went from 95% men and 5% women, and it was a fucking terror to be around these dudes because they have more feminine traits than they want to even take credit for. When the women came inside the actual environment, they was the ones more authentic than the dudes.
Oh,
the guys that give me the biggest issues right now, the ones who give me the biggest issues is not even the women in the space. It's the guys who are like, can we stop talking about this? Can we get back to talking about, did you see Drake cut his hair? Nigga, what are you doing right now?
Did you see the chain that he bought? Look at the chain.
Voice though.
And these are the kind of guys that convince you. They'll convince you that they're attracted to. No, you don't like women. I think you want to pop ass with them. I think you look at them as competition. That to me is a character deconstruction of a lot of guys out here, and those are the ones that never get along with me because they look at me and they think because of the way I look, I'm supposed to be pretty boy, and I'm like, no, bro, I don't like that shit.
You understand, like, we are in a culture, as far as hip-hop culture, where the dominant conversation is about men who are really boys talking about things they did with and to other men. R&B is about men talking about wooing women or shit they did with women. Yes. Or a woman broke my heart, hey, fuck her, I'm trying to get her back, whatever.
Yes, right? What they want and all that. Yeah, the desire.
Right. Hip hop is almost entirely men talking about what they did or will do with other men.
Clocky. They don't want to hear that.
Making music, dancing, right? Because generally, hip hop dancing a lot of times is men dancing with men, right? And women dancing with women.
Ain't nobody dancing nowadays. Have you ever been? I stumbled onto a lounge and I was looking at people and I'm like, wait a minute. So y'all go over here to buy a table and look at each other in Fashion Nova and Shein outfits?
It's men standing next to men too. It's men standing next to men.
But you have absolutely nailed the point that it is the buying of tables, that innovation over the last 20 years of clubbing that has ruined dancing. Because now you buy
dancing with women.
You buy the table, and then the point is to get women to come over to your table. So if you leave the table, then the status you have as buying a table is lost. So you are disincentivized from dancing. And if you are dancing, you don't have a table. So you are signaling to the women, I am the lesser male. So dancing is disincentivized and sitting is incentivized. So now we have completely inverted what the club situation is supposed to be about.
You're talking about a segment of men that also probably don't even want the presence of the women. They want to look like they have women so they can impress other men. We need to clock that because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of that going on to where even the celebration, the version of somebody's celebration of women inside their song. Because Screw said it earlier, like dudes don't make songs about women. No, they do, but there's a very small percentage who are actually having respectable conversations where they humanize the woman in the conversation.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
the majority of these raps, the majority of these songs be folks who are making these invisible avatars, and you can tell they ain't got no sisters. You can tell they don't respect their mama. You can tell that might be the only person they respect.
Well, yeah, we love the genre. We love our mother like no genre ever. Right? There's more hip hop songs about I love mama. Mama was there for me than any, and dad was shitty. Like we talked about that immensely. But the ability to humanize the women who are our peers, hip hop has struggled with that mightily.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these artists are struggling too. I'm not. Go ahead, King. I think a lot of them are struggling. I don't think it's just a matter of rap. How do you compete? Somebody just said right now, Jim said Luther. How do you compete with the Luther right now when you've been getting away with the most outlandish things that you've been writing about women? How do you now follow that up with a record that makes the women and people in relationships feel that kind of warmth?
Dog, I'm looking at the women my age who came up on, when we were dancing in clubs to 90s hip hop and how it is these sisters continue to love hip hop in spite of a constant barrage of bitch and hoe, and not in the fly. Oh, I didn't mean those bitches. I meant those bitches. Like, no, come on. You were saying that shit.
No, those bitches.
You know what I mean? Like, you talk.
Use a female. They use the word female. Use a female.
Rappers be like, no, I'm not talking about the classy ladies who I would date. Like, women know if they are bitches or not. Like, what the fuck, nigga? Fuck you. You was not. And the sisters kept rocking with us through that. So we're giving them this verbal violence, and they're like, we got to sit through this because we love hip hop anyway, in spite of that. But like, I definitely had a lot of conversations with a bunch of sisters who were like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And that's why I have no issues. I'm encouraged, and I love to see the Glorrillas of the world talk their shit. Another one of my favorites is she say Mana Leo. She said, you better not be there with no groupie hoe. He said, you gonna be with Tupac when I come shoot up that studio. I said, niggas don't even rap like that no more. I was like, I said, say more, man. Say more. And she ended up becoming one of my favorites with that song. And I'm like, we got to also go through an era where they get their get back. Because like you said, it's been a constant barrage of throwing these things. You think that they just about to transition and say, it's okay, baby. Let's get to some loving now. No, I love to see the surge of female MCs that are coming up, female rappers and MCs that are coming up and talking their shit, because they deserve the opportunity to talk their shit. Now, where we come in terms of some middle ground, we will see. But I think that
they rapping too.
And they rapping.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. But I'm saying they rapping and holding up rap more than all these niggas, to me personally. Like the best, my favorite, the most exciting new artist to me is Doechii, right?
For sure.
And there's no everybody else is just like, the gap between her and everybody else is crazy, because I'm like, I can't wait to hear a new Doechii verse and a new Doechii song. Whereas like the only other people that I have that same reverence for in music today that are making music is like a Tyler or a Kendrick. And like Doechii's new, and to me, I'm just as excited. If she drops something, I'm stopping, I'm listening to everything. There's no new nigga that's doing that for me.
Doechii is hot to death. And I just also thought of Megan Thee Stallion is like the queen of Madison Avenue. I mean, and maybe y'all would call it hip hop influencers, but like, does anybody have more big, huge ads than her? And like, Kendrick's with Nike now, or is he with Gatorade now? He's got a Gatorade, or is it not a Nike commercial?
Gatorade.
He's got a Gatorade commercial, which is new for a rapper. But this chick over here with Revlon, she is the face of Planet Fitness. She's opening her own Popeyes, which will sell her sauce in the fucking store. Like
Hot Cheetos, that's another one.
She is able to take the brand and translate it to so many different pieces. Like Popeyes is authentic for her, Revlon is authentic for her, Planet Fitness is authentic for her. Like, and she's brand safe all over the fucking place. Like this is the future in a world where rappers are making less from music. Megan is an example of how to cake up in the future.
And you know what all of them have in common is specifically they're unapologetically rap.
Yes.
Unapologetically rap. They unapologetically rap. They're not sitting here trying to teeter the fence. Glasses says something I think that really had me thinking over the last couple weeks since Culture United, when he said that we need to grant the wishes of these younger artists who don't want to be categorized as hip hop. They're hip hop adjacent, but they're really telling you I'm a rock star. He said, if we start viewing this as the new version of rock, or reclaiming rock, because Black folks, we're reclaiming rock, I think we're having different conversations in terms of the boundaries and standards that we're setting for them. I say that to say this: separating them separates their fan base from these annoying conversations. And also it stops us from comparing some of these artists that want to rap from those who said from the jump. Lil Uzi Vert said from the jump, I'm a rock star. I'm not about to rap over none of them old ass beats, bro. They've said this from the jump. I think there's a lot of things that are like overlapping, and it's causing all that is turmoil and issue. We need to separate it and grant these folks their wishes. My thing for those rappers / rock stars, or the rock stars they want to be, you thought it was bias here. Wait till you go enjoy that world of rock and how much they will try to discredit what you're doing as not being real rock.
I hear that, but I don't agree with separating from the hip hop culture. I do think we need to understand subgenre, at least within our culture, because we don't do that within our culture, because categories are something that was put onto us, not something that we created for ourselves. Yeah. That's the unfortunate truth of our genre, our culture. It's like we are not in charge of these categories, but if we are, you are right about the discussion thing, but Lil Uzi is part of our culture. You know what I'm saying? He is and hip hop, he's still hip hop. Travis Scott is a rapper and is hip hop. He's just part of something different, which I do agree that we could say that this is a different subgenre, or this is something new and different. So we can't compare this with the same the same guidelines that we compared Doechii. Doechii wants to partake in what we're talking about. She's like, hey, you know who I'm listening to? MF Doom and Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn puts her on a track. This girl who has a chart-topping song from singing makes a song with Westside Gunn. Mm-hmm. That right there tells you where her mind is. And she has this chart-topping song, Anxiety, and she says, I'm listening to MF Doom right now. This is what I'm vibing.
But how many times are we going to have conversations about them violating rules of hip hop if they choose? I don't have those conversations. No, I'm just saying in general, as a society. Okay. Yes, subgenres do exist. I get that, and the whole genre idea, I think, is something that is the roots of that is definitely racism as a part of that as well. In order to separate a lot of these things. But I do feel like these artists are granting, they're asking to be separated. And the moment that they don't do something that falls in line with the parameters and the rules that we have set culturally with hip hop, they're already, the thing is, they're already outing themselves off the island. I'm saying grant them their wish, because if it was hip hop, the thing is, just because they're monetizing things within hip hop doesn't make them hip hop. It makes them colonize more than if anything else.
No, I think that's a wrong perspective to have.
What artists are you specifically referring to?
You talking about Playboi Carti?
If Playboi Carti is going to tell me right now that he is more of a rock star than a rapper, grant him his wish. If Lil Uzi Vert says I'm more of a rock star than a rapper, grant them their wish. If Travis Scott says I'm now in this phase of my rock star phase where we're mosh pitting, I'm not saying ban them from the island. I'm saying grant them their wish so that we can stop having these conversations about why they're doing things that are not aligned with the women rappers who are doing their thing, because they categorize themselves as rappers.
I feel like them saying that, or those individuals saying that, is part of hip hop. I think that it is essential to hip hop that hip hop can imbibe anything and any sound can become hip hop. And there's not really a completely fixed center to this, that we can just sort of subsume anything and make it hip hop. And I feel like genre was, to me, was taught that was the industry helping the fans say, if you like X, you'll like that. And artists were traditionally, as far as me interviewing people, were generally like, I don't really care about genre. I don't think about genre. And sometimes genre is only communicated sartorially, but musically, you're not really fitting with the rest of the genre. But people want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to be held in by this is what your peers are doing, so you must do. I know a lot of people were like, I don't want to listen to anybody who would be considered in my peer group while I'm in creation mode, because I don't want to do anything that would be like them. So I see a lot of people.
I think melodic rap matters as a genre.
I think a lot of people to break out of genre is important and is considered a victory and is considered what they want to do, rather than to be constrained by the expectations of. And then it's the industry that then pulls them back in and says, okay, let's put on some pieces so that you look like you're in the genre. So you might be wearing X, the video is with this, we feature with this person, we interview with this person, so you look like you're still talking about hip hop, even though if we just did a blind taste test, a lot of people would be like, Travis Scott, that's not hip hop, but we know it is.
But see that
I
think we got too many. And I think there's a few different conversations. Here's my thing. I think that, hot take, we're holding them back. We're holding them back because of their connection and their adjacent nature to hip hop. I think we're holding them back. What if there was a time period? Let's take hip hop out of the conversation for just a second. What if there was a time period in which the youth said, we're going to take back rock, which is traditionally a black genre. We're going to take back rock. And because we said, wait, you can't wear pants like that. You can't do things. You can't rap. Man, when you gonna actually rap something, man, you can't come to. Why the hell was Lil Uzi Vert at Ebro 9 years ago to begin with? Was my question back then. My thing is, if you separate and allow them the space to go create in that space, they don't have to keep trying to pander to the things that we're asking of them as older residents of hip hop. Let them go. Let them go, because it's a possibility.
There's no going any more than there would be leaving blackness. You can't become not black.
I'm in a rock band. Hold on. I'm in a rock band. Let me say this, because this is something that people, what you just said is why he was at Ebro. He doesn't have any other options. So I'm an actual rock band, got signed to Universal.
Why not K-Rock at the time?
Let me tell you why. He wouldn't take them. Let me tell you why. I get signed in a alternative rock band in 2013. I rap over rock music, right? Mm-hmm. So it sounds like indie music was big at that time. You know, like we're talking about MGMT, Vampire Weekend, all this stuff. That indie white rock music, we were taking that genre, mixing it with DC Go-Go, very black genre, and then I was rapping on it and singing. We put out this record. Our fans and people enjoy the music because people just want things that make them feel good. They want slaps. It gets like 100,000 views, and I'm gonna land the plane. This matters. It gets 100,000 views in like a day. I wake up to texts from every single major label around the world. This is going crazy. Because it's 2013 YouTube, right? This is going crazy. We sign a deal. All this fast track. We're recording with Dave Grohl, who's in the Foo Fighters. We're doing songs with for Pharrell, Nirvana, of course. We're doing songs with Pharrell, producing it, because obviously Pharrell has his one foot kind of in that NERD rock world and all that, right?
Yeah.
But number one thing, we have these records that are doing well in radio a little bit and Germany. Number one thing that the label doesn't know what to do. We're black kids that make rock music. They had no fucking clue where to put us. Stations we're not going to stations to do radio interviews. They're like, hey, maybe you guys could do this hip hop station. Genre in our industry, especially at that time, lesser now, but still now, is very much based in race.
Yes.
I was a victim of being a black person trying to make rock music. How many rock bands that are black do you know that are mainstream? They actually don't exist.
There's TV on the radio, but it's very
no. That's not mainstream. That's not a mainstream band, though. But I agree with TV. It's not a mainstream band.
But it's very few. Living Color was there, but to your point, it's very few.
Coldplay level arena selling black band? No,
I mean there's very few Coldplay level artists in general. But yes, there's very
no. But I'm saying but there's a lot of artists that can fill an arena, and not one of them is a black band. That's my point. There's a lot of artists can fill a black actual band that comes out as a rock band or an alternative band, and that's because of how the industry was set up. Lil Uzi Vert had nowhere to go if he said he was a rock artist and try to do rock things. They wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't play it on the rock stations and alternative stations. We actually seen that. I seen that firsthand.
We're still very segregated. We're still segregated.
Whereas a white rapper's Macklemore's getting played on alternative rock radio stations, while I'm coming with an actual rock station, they're saying we don't really know what this is. But Macklemore's thrift shop is on the rock station.
I understand that. I understand why that plays the way that it does. I know the factor that race plays into that. This is what I'm saying. We're holding them back because of the biases of those who run those radio stations, those who run these labels. I'm saying if we gave more energy to Lil Uzi Vert getting to a K-Rock at that point in time. I don't know many stations. I'm just saying these rock stations, even if they said no, if there was more energy put towards that than settling for Ebro, which is not settling in rap and hip hop. We know what that value of that going up to that radio station was at that point in time. This is part of the problem. This is how we invite, because hip hop is so inviting of every single person thing, and we're the only people that don't do ethical gatekeeping.
Wait, hold on. I'm not sure I agree with that. Women and white men have to be twice as good to get half as much. We are not just letting white men in. Any white man on the mic, I'm looking at you sideways from the beginning.
From the culture. Yeah, you mean from the culture, not from the industry.
I'm talking about from music. Said something earlier. There's a difference between of the culture and there's culture and culture, and there's music and music. I'm saying pushing and Uzi Vert, I keep using an example because it's the one we talk about specifically. Pushing him towards an Ebro was a mistake to begin with. It leads us to having discussions there's discussions here that make a whole lot more sense after he's become who he wants to become. He says, I'm a rock star. I'm not defending that's what you should be in rap. I'm saying if you go to Ebro, you better be ready to rap. But the problem is we're fitting square pegs inside of the circle entry. And I'm like, they're asking you to do this. I'm saying even you in the band. I think
it's a hard.
Even you in the band, King Green. I'm saying this. If there's not doors that are being opened, and then you're saying, well, the ones that will embrace is hip hop, they're settling. And you're purposely putting people in places where, because it's hip hop adjacent, they're being brought into the room, and this is where a bunch of assumptions are made. And then when they go off left, and we're like, "What the hell?"
You got to break those barriers. Hold on,
who they were to begin with.
No, but you got to break those barriers. So here's what I'm trying to say. I hear what you're saying. I get the larger point, but when we get to the specifics, it to me it doesn't match up in the sense of like at that time that wouldn't have been possible. But I get what your point is, because Tyler Creator came from an indie ranks. Like a lot of the pitchforks and the alternative sides were actually messing with Tyler more than the actual core, like, mainstream hip hop. It was like underground hip hop and alternative sides messing with Tyler. Tyler built his fan base in that space, then came over when he did the album before Igor that I love, Flower Boy. When he did Flower Boy, it started translating to more of the culture, right? Then Igor, he dropped Igor and said, this is not a rap album, right? Because it really wasn't. He said, this is not a rap album. I'm giving you full pop. I'm going to give you the full thing of the pop songwriting that I can do. And then he comes back with a rap album. Tyler opened doors for this indie alternative black culture to exist now. Without Tyler, you can't get a lot of amazing rock bands that are black are coming right now. And I hope to see a black rock band, alternative band.
Pharrell more than Tyler?
Pharrell creates Tyler, Tyler creates these guys. So it's all linear. But I'm saying Tyler is the reason why someone can have this. Pharrell was in NERD, and we make a song with him because we're influenced by NERD. But there's NERD sold 500,000 in the music boom. Like with the greatest producers at the time, they had 40 records on the top 10, but their rock album only did 500,000. People didn't know how to market and push that album. That album was classic, right? They should have been doing arenas. NERD should have been an arena band in my eyes at that time. But either way, the point of what I'm trying to say is that took time. And I could see that things have splintered and subgenres have splintered. But when someone's coming from the intention of hip hop, which Lil Uzi Vert and Travis Scott are, they're not coming from the intentions.
What does that mean?
With
the
creating
intention of hip hop.
Here's what I'm saying. Hip hop is a postmodern art form. It's about creating something that doesn't have rules. It's about fighting the status quo. You're coming from the culture that you come from, which is going against status quo and saying that there is no status quo. I could take this Brazilian guitar sample, I could take this rock drum, make something out of it, and now it's hip hop. But I just took this genre, and made this. This is now hip hop, and I could sing on that thing, and it still be hip hop.
To be fair,
correct?
Are we saying that genre bending is exclusive to hip hop?
No.
So then, how can we claim that and say that is hip hop? Of the hip hop, I understand making something out of nothing. There's a lot of really hip hop concept. What I'm saying,
I didn't say genre bending was an exclusive. I didn't say genre bending is exclusive of hip hop. I said that hip hop was a postmodern art form, and a postmodern art form is the idea of challenging status quo and saying that there are no rules. So I'm not saying that hip hop is the only thing that does that.
Right, but what is the center of hip hop in the world that you are? I mean, I think we agree with everything you're saying, but then what is the center of hip hop then, if it can be anything?
The black perspective, black culture. Are we not coming? That it comes from that.
You mean
what about Travis Scott? What about Travis Scott and Little Uzi Vert giving you a black perspective?
What'd you say?
What about Travis Scott and what about Little Uzi Vert is giving you a black perspective?
Aren't they black? They're not talking things from the black perspective.
Wait, what do you say? Wait, you said black, then any black person is making hip hop, and some black people are making rock.
Just because
there's no way in hell.
Let me land it and make it simpler before. I didn't say any black person who genre bends now makes hip hop.
Right.
We understand what hip hop is. We're speaking to this culture. This culture exists here. Every rapper speaks back to the culture. I don't care who, name them and I'll show you why. Name a person, I'll show you why. Once you don't speak back to the culture, you're not making hip hop. I'm talking about with your sample choices. I'm talking about with your word choices.
Right.
Once you're having this conversation, you're a part of hip hop culture. I'm not saying that just genre bending is hip hop. I'm not saying just being black is hip hop. Okay.
I'm not trying to be. I'm not going to be purposely obtuse either when I'm asking these things.
I just want to make sure it's clear. So when you're speaking and having in conversation with the culture, Travis is in conversation with the culture.
Yes.
It's just it's plain and simple.
Yeah. Here's my question. He's
saying, can hip hop be this also?
But very specifically, what I'm saying is, conceptually speaking, within their music, and these artists specifically with Lil Uzi Vert and Travis Scott are making songs that are speaking to a very broad audience on purpose. They got mosh pits with all kind of different races, genders, and all kind of different backgrounds. I'm saying, how many of them specifically speak to
blackness,
a black experience? Or is it just I'm black? So everything that I say is that
I can say that about rappers.
Yes, you can.
I can say that about boom bappity rappers, though.
Yes, you can.
That doesn't make them not making hip hop. So, so what's the point there, though, right?
To me, the point is, colonizers come in all colors. And I'm saying some of these folks are being boxed into being colonizers. Some of these folks are being boxed into being colonizers because they're hip hop adjacent, because first of all, they're black. And second of all, it sounds like they kind of rap. But these niggas has told us they don't want to be categorized as rappers. I'm bigger than a rapper. I'm a rock star. They told you that. I'm saying grant them their wish, and whatever they don't have access to because they chose that route is on them. but we always embrace people that leave us 10 years later, like Post Malone, who've already ate up off the genre because we so damn accepting.
That's a different discussion.
In a world in a world where hip hop is the dominant culture in America, especially for Black people, is it possible to not be in conversation as a music maker with hip hop? For example, Shaboozey is a country artist, but he definitely seems to be in conversation with hip hop, but we would not confuse him with a hip hop artist. And he's just like hip hop sonically adjacent. If we went to, who else is there?
Here's my problem with this discussion with the word hip hop, though. I have to stop you here because hip hop is a culture, correct? And that's how I always declare it. When we talk about rap and rapping and hip hop, they're two different things in my head because I'm so committed to that concept, right? So hip hop as a genre of music, to me, I don't know what you're talking about because hip hop as a genre of music, to me, I'm like, there's no hip hop chords. Someone could play a country guitar chord and I rap over that shit. It is not country music. I just rap my ass off over some country chords. And that's my issue with the idea, because we're talking about how the attention in the conversation of how you're creating your art. So hip hop is the way you look, it's the way what you talk about, it's your dress, it's the art, it's how you see the world, correct? That's your culture. Now, I personally think Shaboozey's, first of all, I know Shaboozey was making rap songs forever. Shaboozey caught a lick. I don't care what nobody said. Very talented dude, caught a fucking lick. That nigga is from Fairfax, Virginia, Nigerian parents. Why is he making country music? Because he's talented as fuck. That's it. Then that's not his culture at all, guys. He caught a lick and he rapped on the second verse on that shit. Like, the guy is that. There's no way you can tell me he's not hip hop because I know. Now Tommy Richmond, that's somebody.
Okay, but what about
rap? Vanilla Ice hip hop?
But what about like a guy? Oh, that's interesting. But then what about like Rihanna Giddens, who is truly country, about our age?
I don't know who you're talking about. No, I don't know that person. I can't have
she's like, oh my god, she's like a major like. It's like serious. I think she went to Juilliard. She's like a serious writer of country music that is on Cowboy Carter out of like respect for like the art form, right? 1977, Black American musician known for electronic folk music, right? Like she lives in that world. I think she has like some big music award, or she's like a serious. She went to the Oberlin Conservatory and studied opera, like serious musician. So she's Black. She's of the, like, she's not in conversation with hip hop.
I don't know anything about her to make a comment about it. But what my perspective truly though is that, and this is controversial in the idea, is like I think everyone has stole from hip hop's culture and. Things to me are hip hop that people don't think is hip hop because I'm looking at things like this is a blatant theft without any credit to the fact that it's a hip hop sensibility. I'm talking about the way that people create music.
I think we're putting a jacket. Give me an example in your mind of the difference between hip hop and rap, and where, and not and like in names, not in adjectives, but where do you see, okay, this person or this album exists, or this song exists in rap and not in hip hop, or the other way around?
Rage Against the Machine is a rap rock band. Zach De La Rocha raps his ass off. They're not a hip hop band, even though I would consider them hip hop because of how I see things. But I know that that's not a hip hop band. Rage Against the Machine is not a hip hop band.
They're not in the culture, but they use
at all. Rap. That nigga only raps. Zach De La Rocha only raps. Rappity rap. Okay. And they're not hip hop.
Okay.
So you can rap and not be hip hop.
Okay.
A black example of someone that raps and doesn't make hip hop. Yeah. A lot of people that are like in the rock adjacent space, like there's a Fever 99 where the dude lead vocalist is a rapper and he that's not hip hop. There is my band is not hip hop. I be rapping, but I'm hip hop. But my band isn't. I want to go to someone and be like, this is hip hop music. So I feel like it's very possible. And if I look at the top 40, I'm looking at people, I'm like, yo, they produced this in a hip hop way. They did this like this person's stealing from hip hop. This person's stealing from hip hop.
Who's stealing from hip hop? Call them out.
Everybody. Everybody.
Name names.
Not saying it. Not saying it. I write songs for a living. I ain't saying that.
Oh my God.
Can I make one point? Can I make one point? I think the point I'm making is that I think we're putting a jacket on people who don't want the jacket, and whether or not they recognize it or not, whether or not they don't recognize the hip hop that's within what they're doing, I think that it's holding. Lil Nas X is a perfect example of it. He made that song "Old Town Road," and then they immediately said, "Oh no, this has no business being in the country genre." Well, why the hell not? He literally made a country theme for the song. And then did damn near a cover in his own way, but they said, nah, that's hit. He don't even want that jacket. He don't want that jacket so much that he went and broke all kind of rules of of hip hop along the way. I'm saying there are people we're giving that jacket to, and it's really we're giving an education about the DNA of hip hop that's within what they do. That's cool. I'm saying, hey, you're telling me I don't like that thing that you guys keep saying. I don't fuck with that. Okay, cool. Take the jacket off, recognize that no matter what you're doing, it's in the DNA of what you're doing anyway.
I hear what you're saying.
Go deal with it over there. Stop coming over here and eating up off of all of the goods from here. And then when you're done eating all the natural resources, then you go leave and then go reinvent yourself and be like, I ain't like that shit to begin with. We knew you didn't because you told us.
You can't.
What do you think of Andre 3000 though? Love Below.
I think
is that a hip hop album?
No, that is not a hip hop album. That has hip hop elements, but it's not a hip hop album.
I can't deal with that as a reality in anyone's brain personally. Love Below not being a hip hop album to me is saying that Lauryn Hill's albums is not a hip hop album. But I think my problem is here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Go ahead.
Here's my problem. Because I'm saying hip hop, and I think that personally. I think there's hip hop, the culture, and then there's these subgenres of music within hip hop, the culture. And I wish it were like that. But I understand from you guys, you're saying, no, Lauryn Hill she was singing and all that type of stuff. So that's not hip hop because I understand someone who says that. I understand someone saying that that's their frame of thought. But I would just completely disagree with you. And the person that starts their album with a diss track made a hip hop album. You just lost one. That's a hip hop.
Wait a minute. Let me retort this. You trying to tell me the same project that had Hey Ya, the same project that had Roses, the same project that had Prototype. You gonna sit? I know that Andre 3000 is hip hop. There's no. I'm not talking about. You're talking about to the chat, really. There's no denying that this man is of hip hop royalty, but he didn't go in there with the intent of making a hip hop album. We just claim everything because of our pride of him. He didn't make a hip hop album, even from the production. From the drum choices. Those are not drums that we're using on MPCs. Those are not drums we're using when they're making instrumentals for hip hop.
I think that's restrictive.
What he's making, it's not restricting. What he's making is what he wanted to make, which is outside the confines of what we have expectations as hip hop listeners. When I listen to Prototype, that's not hip hop. He's a hip hop artist who is going outside of whatever expectations we have of a rapper. That's not
he's a hip hop art. I think he's a hip hop artist that made a hip hop album. Is it a rap album? No, I would never call Love Below a rap album. But that's what I'm saying. I think the words, I think the way that I'm trying to define hip hop for myself is different. But I do agree with you in the idea that we can be restrictive because we're just kind of doing it here. You can be restrictive to this person by saying that this is hip hop. Where your boom bap? Where's your snares and MPCs? Why are you, Lil Uzi Vert, singing? Why aren't you doing that? That's not.
Are you saying that Miseducation is a hip hop album?
No, because what
you're talking about Curtis?
No, I'm not.
Curtis says no.
Is Miseducation not? That's a hip hop album through and through. I think about the boom bap. See, the thing is, we're having two different conversations.
Miseducation is, but
that is absolutely.
But then Love Below is not.
One of those leans more, even doo-wop. Doo-wop, you're getting that chorus, but the majority of that, you're getting her barring up. You're getting that over boom bap drums. It leans in more to being a boom bap hip hop aesthetic. I think we're having two different conversations.
Boom bap is not necessary to be hip hop, right? Travis Scott is not boom bap, and that's hip hop, right?
He has boom bap drums in a lot of his songs, though.
But he doesn't need to, right? I mean, it's Future's hip hop, right? We're doing that.
No boom bap on trap songs. That's what I'm saying. Genres are restrictive, to use hip hop as a genre, to use hip hop and state it only as a genre, to me feels restrictive of the culture. And then thinking of something as, it's like, this type of snare is now hip hop. I can use whatever genre. If I take a bossa nova beat and start rapping over it, it can be hip hop. It depends on how you are using it in the conversation.
I hate to say this, and I'm gonna get canceled for this. There's a possibility that somebody in Brazil who listens to that can say, "Then you colonizing." How you gonna take that because you rapped over it? All of a sudden, that's yours, and that's hip hop now. No, this is bossa nova that we created the instrumentation over. And now because you rapped over it, all of a sudden, that's hip hop. That's ours now.
I'm not doing that. I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
I'm the New Yorker.
We gotta be able to call our own contradiction in this situation.
Fuck your Brazil card. You can take your Brazil card, put it back in your head. Fuck that shit.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy because we get mad at other folks for doing that.
Nah.
It's not the same. What I was saying is not the same thing because we sample everybody's music. We sample everybody's music. So how is that not the same thing?
If you're gonna do that, at least play a Jamaica card, not a bossa nova card. Like at least say Jamaica is a direct father of the shit. Because Kool Herc just took the shit he saw in Kingston and redid it in the Bronx, and they were like, "Oh my God, if y'all was in Kingston, y'all would have seen that shit." But he did it first, so fine. Now let's go.
I can't. That's not even.
We're having two different conversations. We're having a conversation of phonics versus cultural adjacency. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about pure sonics. And you can tell when an artist sits down with a producer, as a producer, you know when someone sits down with the intent of making what they believe is hip hop.
Wait, is the intention the point? Is the intention the point?
The intention to me is the point.
Hold on.
He said
what
Sonics,
is the name? Okay, I'm glad you said that. What is the name? Please read for me, sir. The name of Andre 3000's first song on the New Blue Sun. And I can read it for you if you like.
Read it. Come on, go ahead and read it.
I swear, I really wanted to make a rap album, but this is literally the way the wind blew me this time. So the intention is 100% to make a rap album. Now, obviously, the New Blue Sun lands very, very far away from hip hop.
How do you read that?
I don't know how you.
That is literally what he said.
But just because he said, I wanted to make. He didn't say my goal in making this was to make a hip hop album. This is where I landed. He said my intent. Before I started this,
he raps and records every day. And he thinks about making a rap album. And in general, when the creative impulse was there, it was, let's make a rap album. And then as soon as he started taking steps toward anything real, they all went toward jazz and flute. Mm-hmm. So, right. But like in the intention for that, and that's an extreme example, I would move that he absolutely intended Love Below to be a hip hop album. He's absolutely in conversation with hip hop as far as, how much rapping do I need to do? How much music and melody can I get in this shit? How much of my soul and my can I get in this shit? Like, I'm going to do a different sort of hip hop because everything I do is hip hop.
You think he meant to do that, to make that a hip hop album sonically or conceptually?
I don't know the difference.
I think that point doesn't really track because
we have to answer that one because that
help me understand the difference.
When I say that. Sonically or conceptually, because he could say things that us as a part for us that are in the culture of hip hop, we know when certain things are said a certain way, you're like, oh, that's hip hop. That's of the culture. When there's certain stories that are being told that are shared nuances, the shared stories that we know when something is hip hop, even the way that you said, the way we talk, the way we dress, all these different aspects that go into it. Okay, so what I'm saying is, do you think he sat down there The same person that contributed production to the ATLians, the same one that contributed to production to all these outcast hip hop albums. You think he sat down there and said, sonically, I'm going to make a hip hop album on Love Below? Is that what we're saying?
What are the sonics of hip hop? Define that first.
Yeah, I don't think that I think Green asked a good question. I don't think that Andre would think I want to make a hip hop album because he would think anything that I do is hip hop or anything that I do is valid.
Because it's a culture and a mindset. I need to understand from your perspective and everyone's perspective, what are the sonics of hip hop? So we can and then because for me, Graduation is a hip hop album, correct? Right? Mm-hmm. Graduation has Stronger on it. Those drums, that chorus is not traditional hip hop. It's like a dance beat, right? Daft Punk sample,
so right? We're having a sonic conversation right now, right?
Yes, sonic only. What are the sonics that confine hip hop? Mm-hmm. So I could understand what we're talking about, because
I'm not trying to confine it. What I'm saying is that there are things at the foundation when you're choosing instruments. You know this, especially as you're putting production down. There are there are sounds that you choose, whether it's the type of kick you choose. There's a different kick between a hip hop kick, a doom, and a EDM kick. Doom, 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 doom. It's a very short release on it. It's a very like it has a different texture to it, based upon the snare that you choose. Based upon the snare that you choose as a producer, no matter what the genre is, it changes the character of the entire production you're working on. The more you make certain decisions, the more you start to create something that people will now listen to and interpret as, oh, hip hop was a heavy influence on this. When I listen to Love Below, I think of funk being a heavier influence on it. I think about R&B being a heavier influence on it. I think about even the string arrangements and orchestral type of music being more of an influence, classical music being more of an influence. Now, him coming from a hip hop framework, a hip hop point of view, there's things that he's going to do culturally. He can't un-hip hop himself. It's Andre 3000.
Yeah.
But ironically, I listen to what Big Boy did. To me, that feels like that's somebody who wanted to make a futuristic hip hop sound.
Yes.
Sonically.
Yes.
The difference is literally on both of those discs. So then when I listen to Love Below, and then when I look at what he did years later, he making a flute album. He been leaving. He's been saying how frustrating it is for him to sit down and make things that are confined to this idea.
I have to finish this. I have to finish this point to get to where I was getting to. So Future in March Madness, is that a hip hop song?
It's a trap song, which is under the umbrella of hip hop. Yes.
So it's a hip hop song.
It's a subgenre of hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we? But Prototype is not a subgenre of hip hop.
That is more a subgenre of R&B to me.
Okay. So would you assume? I feel like it's safe to assume if we took the if we played in 1992. March Madness for someone in 1992, that would not be hip hop to them.
It depends what
area. Very melodic driven vocal over 808s electronic sounds, not very much used anywhere other than over there in Europe, using more of the electronic sounds at the time in the early 90s. I think possibly that can be looked at because it's a subgenre of our culture that it's progressed by all these other things and the melodic entrance of 808s and heartbreaks. All that stuff projects us to this point where our cultures merged what Kanye and what 3000 were doing and merged it with, street culture and trap stuff. And they made this new genre. And I'm saying that taking it away from the culture of hip hop and those sonics, I'm saying that the sonics don't really exist in hip hop. Is my perspective on it. It's like, I don't think there's a kick that belongs to us and a kick that doesn't belong to us. I don't think there's a snare that belongs to us and not. I don't think there's a pattern that doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to us because I can do whatever the fuck I want, sample what I want, play whatever I want. I could get a whole band to play something and make a hip hop record. Anything could become hip hop. Right. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Anything can become hip hop. So therefore, that's why I don't like the idea of the culture being mixed with the genre, because genre is restrictive and hip hop has no bounds. That's my only issue with the that wording. But I get what you're saying. That is, if someone's saying that they don't give a fuck about the culture, because that's what it feels like you're saying more so. It seems like someone's saying that they don't give a, if they don't give a fuck about the culture, and then they're making something and using the culture and then saying they don't give a fuck about the culture, we should check them and be like, you're not doing.
Not even check them. Let them go and let them figure it out. Because the thing is, I look at that and I say, I think hip hop then becomes a security blanket or like a safety net for them. Where I'm always going to be accepted here, and it's like, no, you said you're separated. You're trying to take these things out of the DNA of your music. You're taking on different instrumentation, and I'm not saying that hip hop doesn't have the ability to do that. I love when artists evolve and get outside of their. I'm a producer who's done all kind of different styles my damn self. As an artist, I do that. What I'm saying is there's artists who are telling us, literally telling us they don't want no parts of this. And we set them up to disappoint us. And then we have conversations about like, why in the hell would he do something like that? Why is wearing shit like that?
I think hip hop is indelible. You can't wash it off. You can't take it off. There is a posture that we have seen that is frustrating perhaps to a lot of us, that says that I am bigger than hip hop, right? It's a way of saying I am bigger than the Black community. I am larger than the Black community.
Yeah.
And some people have said it in obnoxious O.J. Simpson type ways. Some people have said it like, I mean, it's a lot of Prince's conversation to himself and to his label about I want to be on Dick Clark. I don't want to be on Soul Train. I want to be in a big, in the big club, in the big K-Rock, and not in the Black station, whatever. And some people have had that conversation in gross ways, but like, you can't escape hip hop. You can never get away from it. If hip hop is street urban culture, as I hear Glasses say a lot of times, if hip hop, if the core of it is street urban culture, and you're listening to artists who are doing everything in their ability to separate themselves from the aesthetics that we associate with that, and they're even going into completely different genres and creating soundscapes that don't have a whole lot of remnants of what we do. Even if it has 10 to 20% of it, they're leaning towards something else. Why not grant them their wish and go there so that we can stop judging them?
I have a problem with that.
Wish is ungrantable.
No, wait. You have a problem with it because you have the ability to be absolutely outstanding wherever you go. Some of them don't. There's no reason why we should be having some of these rappers doing ciphers of the XXL freshmen. But because we bundle everything up and we say,
agree with that.
I agree with that. The wish cannot be granted. The wish cannot be granted.
They have nowhere to go, unfortunately, is my problem.
You
must be Black.
You are part of this.
That's on them. They Black.
Don't pit me against my own people with that. I'm saying my thing is this, if you sound like white rock artists, you're mimicking the voice of the white rock artists. Shit. Some of them sound like they sound like the ones who have watered down this culture, and they're mimicking they're mimicking
some of them. Okay, but some of the people like Travis Scott
mimicking that.
Yeah, and but Travis Scott.
And then when that shit don't sell, they come back and start rapping with us. Now you won't play with the niggas.
I think we're having okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go.
I don't mind that whole arc that happens in so many genres. You establish yourself, you deepen your connection. Maybe in the third album, you're still with the pocket. Maybe people are floating away. What am I going to do? By the time you get to your fourth album, my God,
experiment.
You are old in the genre. You got to figure something out. Your fans are aging out. Of course, you're going to let's try a different sound. Of course, you're probably thinking about different sounds because you've been in this area forever. I want to try something different. I think it's natural. It works in some situations. I think about Bitches Brew, Miles Davis. It doesn't work in certain situations.
Damian Marley and Nas.
I think about
Jay-Z with the Linkin Park kids. You get tired and you start doing shit.
I think about like Lil Wayne doing a rock album. He tried it. He was interested in the instrument. He's interested in the sound. It as an idea, it felt authentic to me. It didn't work. He wanted to come back to rapping. Great.
Can we answer this question? Because I love this combo, and I think like we were touching on two different things, like hip hop as a culture, then the genre and the sonics.
Malone question.
But the Post Malone question, I'd love for us because I know we're all gonna. But real question: what sign did Post Malone show that we ignored? That was a hint that we should not have accepted him. I don't know much about him. Go ahead, Curtis. Answer that. And then
when he showed up in that dingy ass T-shirt talking about White Iverson, we should have knew something was up.
With them dusty braids,
them dusty ass braids, and he was something like White Iverson.
He sounded like he smelled.
Yes,
he looks like he smells.
He still do.
I've never been anywhere near him, but he just always he seems like 1 second away from homelessness. Like the industry finally was like, yo, let the homeless man get a shot on the mic. Yo, he could actually sing. Does he need to go to hair and makeup? No. Just put him right out.
But Toure, to your point, I think sometimes we can't see the acting that they're putting on and you see the acting that they do in other genres. When I saw Post Malone go from doing this with Quavo and showing off his gold fronts and all of that and wearing a jersey on all that, and in a moment it was country, he got that beard and was like, I want to take him on down.
His hat style changed.
Hat style changed and not a Negro in sight. And I'm like, oh, now you're the rock dad guy. What the fuck is this? But we get used by folks like this because it's like, you sound like us. You almost look like the homie, the white Mike homie. Hey, come on over here, man. And I think that's part of our own doing at times because we keep letting people get in here that have not earned their way into these.
I don't need to be needed. I don't need them to want me. You're going to get me regardless. You're in hip hop. I'm going to pay attention to you. You don't need to tell me to pay attention to you.
Wait, repeat it one more time. I didn't catch it.
You don't need to want my attention. You can say you don't want my attention. You're in hip hop. I'm going to pay attention to you. It doesn't matter. You don't need to tell me, I want you. I love you. You tell me I don't want you. I'm going to rock and roll. I'm like, great. I'll listen to that too. I don't care. Here's my thing. You just doing rap rock.
I'm not positioning it like we're not the prize. We are the prize. But we keep giving it up to everybody. We keep giving the box up to everybody. And they keep going in there and using us. And then by the time they go somewhere else, what did he do as soon as he got out of rap, out of the hip hop conversation? He said, yeah, man, if I wanted to make songs that had any kind of depth to them, I wouldn't be able to do that in rap.
Dog, the level of analogy of femininity that you just posted, I don't think there's a big enough pause for that.
I'm not pausing nothing. Giving up the draws to everybody. And what happens
we are the sluts in that analogy.
Yeah.
Hip hop fans.
Yeah. This is why we need to put a stop to it, because we allow any and everybody in here to wine and dine us because they wear the jerseys the right way. They put the hats on the right way. They use a slang. Even I can't even listen to Drake now no more. I listened to Stay Scheming and I said, who is this actor? It never said all of the black scent and all the extra shit that I'm listening to. I'm like, this is nasty work. But it was cool at one point because it was like, hey man, it's a child actor from Canada. That shit's all right, bro. It's cool, man. Don't you think it's too deep on it? And then look at how he turned out.
Yeah, I never liked it.
I feel like there's once you bring that into it, I realized more of what you're saying, and I feel like there's like three. To me, there's so many different cultures within hip hop culture. Like there's different things that go on within it. Like people, even when you say like it's street, urban centered cult.
I got a problem with that.
Yeah, it's like when we really talk about that, I always say this. I forgot what rapper said this. Who was it? I think it was Meth. It's like when you think about a building in the projects, and people are like, "Yo, this is I do this because I'm a product of my environment, and this is where I'm from, so I do this." Right? It's like, wait a minute, there's 52 apartments in your projects, right? Mm-hmm. You and the 3 niggas down the hall are the only niggas doing that shit. There's people who have a lot of interests, who are in different things in these same projects, who are from the place that you are, who are blending different types of genres and things, and they from that space. Exactly.
He's saying
I'm not limiting that to
it's from the street, like without a doubt. That's just a historical conversation,
of course.
But there's when he's saying that it's of the street, does that exclude the vast amount of suburban hip hop that's being made? Does that include the 1%er rap that's being made from the likes of Travis and Future and Jay-Z, who live a 1%er life? Like, is that part of it? Or is that
Jay-Z still street urban culture? Future is still street urban culture. Where they're living today, as opposed to where they came from.
Who they are? Wait, are you referring to who they are consumed by, or who the creators are?
Where they're from, the concept of their music to begin with.
Well,
the nature of their music was.
The nature of class is more complicated than just where you come from. It also is factored into where you go. And Jay-Z and Future, just as two examples, and Travis live a unique 1%er life now. And we can't just say they're only from the hood. And Jay-Z's music, he's talking about, I got removed on my wall. Future's talking about, I'm fucking bitches and Gucci flip-flop. They're not talking about the street. So that's 1%er rap.
We're talking about the same Future that was in remind me Dungeon Family. We talking about the same one that came. There's a different Future that we're getting before his name turned to Future. There's a root in the middle, in the beginning of his music that still leads you back to the same source, which is street urban culture. Where he goes from there,
but where you see, I think the suburbs has had a massive impact on this culture. Not first, the streets was first, as always, but the suburbs is a huge part of this. And I'm trying to understand when niggas say this is street culture. Are you including, is that like a synonym for black? So black suburban niggas count? Or you really talking about, no, I'm talking about the inner city, and I'm excluding all the suburban hip hop. And then I'm like, okay.
And are we talking in poverty? Are we saying only poverty? Are you only saying only poverty? Are you talking about street as in gangster too? Some people say use certain things synonymous in different ways.
I'm not talking about just gangster. I'm talking about the voice of the voiceless. I'm talking about the impoverished neighborhoods and boroughs that you saw hip hop start in, when it was just and that's what I'm saying, is that is at the core, the foundation.
That's the root.
I said the history, yes, but are we saying that that's where we are now?
Still to this day, the ones that get celebrated within the culture, the ones that get the biggest celebrations in the culture, like the artist is going crazy right now, is from Compton, California.
Right, but before it was Drake.
And what happened then?
I mean,
what was the last?
The first time he said he used Drake for a positive, like, but before that was Drake. He used that to win an argument.
But like he was the one of the I mean, like, suburban niggas have been huge part of the culture.
I feel like he's been on for a long time.
Has it been majority positive, or has it been negative? Because Kanye, I wouldn't put Kanye in that. No, I don't. Is he middle? I don't know.
Kanye's suburban.
Kanye's a suburban nigga.
I would just say the kind of, he pushed a style of a music of emo rapping that did have it provided a runway for Drake to exist and expand upon. Yes. And it created a lot of dark years in this genre.
And you think that's an issue? So you thought that was an issue?
I thought that was an issue. I think that there's pros and cons that come along with it.
Think about the just to go to the 90s of the Native Tongue, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul side of things, and the Public Enemy side of things. So two entirely suburban approaches to hip hop. One is intellectual. I mean, they're both intellectual in their own way. One is more fun-loving. One is super serious. Incredibly important and huge influencers of future lines of hip hop. I mean, the suburbs are a huge part of hip hop culture.
Well, that's just not the suburbs. That's also saying that the same street urban culture is able to produce an intelligent movement of hip hop as well. KRS-One is another.
But there's no question that the street is critical, right? There's no question of that. I feel like in this conversation of hip hop, the suburbs gets no respect, and that's not fair. And the suburbs is an important part of creating hip hop, not from day one, obviously, but an important part of shaping hip hop. To say nothing, as I also said, of the complexity of class is more than just where you grew up.
It's so complex. It's so
huge impact on upper class rappers, and the whole notion now that we have massive multi-millionaire rappers and the things that they talk about entirely different than what we had in the 90s, when we really didn't have that many millionaire rappers, especially in the first half of the 90s.
Can you give me a glimpse into what have been the success stories of the suburban hip hop contribution?
Rakim, Public Enemy.
Wow. Well, just the Public
What do we
Enemy.
mean by suburbs?
Public Enemy
I'm asking. He says suburbs. I'm asking.
Well, no, I know Public Enemy is not from the hood. They are especially Chuck is a reader from a much earlier age. So he gets into the game at a much later age because he goes to college. So he's doing middle class things, suburban things, right? Mm-hmm. And then so he's having a much more political, intellectual conversation with the audience than other people. It is perhaps less visceral than NWA. Because that right, and there's your dichotomy that NWA is going to give it to you in a more visceral way because they're from the street, and Public Enemy in a more intellectual way because they're from the suburbs. But everybody who does intellectual hip hop following Public Enemy, from Lupe Fiasco to Paris to Kendrick, is following them, right? Is deeply influenced by them. To say nothing of the same sort of thing that the whole Native Tongues thing has done, which is surely a parent of Pharrell, of Questlove, of Kanye, of on and on. I mean, there's huge.
But here's the thing with the word suburbs. Because there's geography. There's like where you are, and then there's like you being like in impoverished or lower class or middle class or upper middle class. Those different things I think we're talking about, I guess, because it's like there's suburbs that are hood, right? There's like things that are suburban that are hood.
I think that would be the defining line, that what we are talking about when we're talking about urban, we're talking about people who are growing up in lower middle class or working class backgrounds, right? Perhaps more dense, smaller living spaces, less money in the entire community, probably a more vibrant police reaction, a more vibrant drug market around them, versus in a suburban environment where people are not worried about money every day in the same way, where people are probably going farther academically more commonly, where people have cars earlier, right? Live in a home where they have their own room, they have their own car at 16, and they're talking about going to college or things that books that people in college talk about. Like I think the sorts of rhyming that De La Soul is doing when they're talking about family life.
They're from Queens?
What's that?
Where's De La Soul from?
Long Island,
Jersey.
But my brother,
Long Island.
My brother's a basshead, talks about the crack epidemic. But the song is clear that both my parents are trying very hard to help my brother, as opposed to songs that you might get from guys in the hood who are like, my dad is nowhere around, and my brother gave me a pack and I'm selling it. And like, okay, like that's your life, because mom needs help, so I'm helping mom. So there's an entirely different relationship to what they're saying, the world they're talking about, the things that they're listening to. I think it's a critical part of hip hop.
Street culture is the root, and I agree with that statement.
Right.
And I think that it doesn't require poverty and struggle to be able to make hip hop music, because that's ridiculous.
Yes,
I don't think you required to be come from that to make hip hop music. But that's my opinion. But street culture is 3,000.
Of course, that wasn't the goal of what I was saying either. That's why I've been listening. I was genuinely asking a question.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't trying to be obtuse. I was trying to understand what he meant so I could clarify before I had a response on that.
Yeah.
Some of these things that you're talking about, even in terms of like the drug dealing, is not exclusive to the hood either. Like there are suburban neighborhoods who have these same experiences in their own, however they want to shape that and color it. But I do think that there needs to always be that connection to the root in these conversations, because it's so easy for someone who doesn't understand where it came from to now reimagine this and make it into something where those folks are left out. So when I'm having these conversations about sonics versus culture of hip hop, that's what I'm getting to.
I feel
I think there's some people now that are celebrated for being visual anomalies or visual outliers. They're celebrated because they're. I see your point earlier. There's white rappers right now that are rapping like Rap God just came out yesterday, and that is their whole identity is Rap God.
With their hands like this.
They get celebrated like they're literal magicians, and they're saying nothing. And then those fan bases will come and find somebody who's doing this, who is of this culture, and say, see, the thing is, what you don't understand is that this is what hip hop really is. And that's the part where I'm like, I
think we know. I think America knows. I think the world knows hip hop as a celebration and an elevation of the street, and the potential erasure is of the suburban addition to the conversation. And suburban niggas saying, "Hey, the South got something to say. We got something to say too," and niggas being like, "Y'all ain't shit." Y'all
suburban niggas is such a funny phrase.
You have shit to say.
Suburban niggas. Somebody can put that on merch right now. I already know it.
And of course, there is a tremendous amount of drug dealing and drug taking in suburban areas. But I think, you know, the my brother's a basshead is a sort of, again, I come back to like the classic suburban rapper response to the war on drugs or to the drug epidemic is a song about my brother was an addict, as opposed to Nas being like, yeah, we was out there pitching that shit when you wasn't really out there pitching that hard, but you're elevating how much you're pitching, and others are saying, well, we tried the shit and we had a crazy experience, you know, or my brother did the shit and he became an addict. So it just becomes a different perspective. But as a suburban nigga, I don't want
merch coming out next week. The merch is coming out next week.
Erased from the conversation, and as if the street is the only thing. And there's a notion that blackness is of the street, and that when you remove it from the street, it somehow loses blackness, as if the hood is a refrigerator, and blackness is milk,
which is anti-black.
Out of the refrigerator. Yeah. And it spoils, and it's no longer drinkable. No longer
take it out of the refrigerator.
What the fuck are you talking about? And if I live in PG County or Beverly Hills, I would suddenly become not black.
Now, first of all, PG County has a lot of different situations in PG County. Let me just let y'all know.
God.
PG County is a big county.
No, and this is not to discredit anybody based upon where they're from, especially if they've made the contributions they made. This is to make sure that those who are part of the foundation never get forgotten about. There's a reason why there's certain stories that resonate with people who've never lived these experiences that they gravitate to. There's so many stories that we just heard off of GMX that I'm listening to people rapping about, talking about what they did in the Nickerson. You don't even know where that's at. And then you got folks who are out here yelling at the top of their lungs because there's something that they relate to. I think at the very core level, it's authenticity is one of those things. I think that when you're listening to somebody who is speaking very authentic to where they're from, it's something about even somebody from a rich suburban. If you speak authentically to where you're from, that authenticity will move all across the world, and people will receive it as that. The problem is when you know you're not that, but you study what is that, you get a voice to speak for that, and that you took from is no longer a part of the conversation.
Drake.
I can see that. I can see that. No, but I can even see what you're saying with even people like, even though they're rappers and all that, but I can see what you're saying, that if someone like Uzi or Travis, if they're Uzi's from that, right? Philly. But I'm saying
he's from Philly for sure.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I could see how you could say that someone could come there, raising the ranks, be doing all these different things, and not really be speaking to the root of it all and respecting the root of it all in the culture. But I feel like it's my only reaction to that is like, hey, you guys, what are you guys doing? Let's have a conversation, because you guys, this is hip hop. This is what we're doing, and this is where we're moving things. And I feel like it's just a correction, like what Kendrick did. I think that was a correction that made okay, this is. Oh, we forgot what hip hop tastes like. We forgot what a real apple tastes like. Or you go to a country and you eat a banana in another country. You're like, this banana good as fuck. I ain't never like you never had a banana.
Wait.
It's like a real banana taste.
Read the two good super chats. Read the super chats.
Oh yeah, let's get these super chats before we leave.
And
I'm hungry, y'all. Like we have a 3-hour live.
Put the fries in the bag, Green.
Fries in the bag. It's crazy.
Put the fries. You crazy as hell. 1 point for Curtis. This guy's just giving us the definitions of rap and hip hop. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Isn't hip hop production influenced by everything?
Yes.
Started with DJs. Yes. Hip hop debates are back and we love it. Thank you. We love debating. 3-hour stream. Curtis got to come on every week now because we love talking to Curtis. Curtis, you got a new job.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Is it? We ignored that he's Canadian. Yes, we ignored that he's Canadian. For some reason, I was dancing the freaking started from the bottom. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I fucking love that. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
He's good at what he does. What he does is hypnotization. He's good at what he does.
Thoughts on DJ Head in OVO Mall? If you watch the beginning of this, we kind of
did like an hour on
that. Yeah. The reason artists pose as hip hop artists is because it's the easiest path of entry into music business. It was, and yes, they come in, change rules of the culture, and dip out. That's how we lost rock, blues, and jazz. I don't disagree with that at all. You are correct. And they throw us all in that shit. And you black, like we were on hip hop. I'm talking about, I make a whole rock song. They're like, hey, you should go to this hip hop station and talk. It's like, but nigga, this shit is rock music. Like, but anyways, it's pretty simple for me. Calling yourself a rock star and creating vibe music ain't gonna cut it. Bare minimum requirement is being accepted as a great rapper. Okay. When we see them acting in our genres is a great response. So how do you know not to let them in? Or what are their requirements? I'd personally rather have Eminem than Ye or 50. Whoa.
You'd rather have Eminem than Ye or 50?
I don't know what to say to that.
I mean, okay, but that's not
all right.
Hey, maybe take Ye. Take Ye. Go ahead and take him.
Yeah, at this point, you could have Ye.
I know, at this point, racial draft, you could have Ye now.
Take that.
Ye and the fucking...
last two ones.
Drew D says, Say Love Below is a hip hop album and all is forgiven, Curtis, because he mad at me right now in that chat. Nope.
He's like, no. I said what I said. A common theme I've seen this year is how genuine art integrity has been extorted for capital gain. Is it possible to distinguish categorical placement via origination and consistent model? I don't even know if I agree with that.
I haven't ate enough food to even understand what he just said in that last
Hungry as hell. Me and Curtis are dying over here.
I got Oreos. Y'all want some Oreos?
Yeah.
Send it my way.
When Curtis started dissing Drake, I was like, yeah, I'm going to eat some Oreos too. Yeah, what's up?
Some Oreos. That's crazy. Hey, slow it down. Toure just dissed you.
Just slow it down. Being a part of hip hop culture is growing up in it and practicing its core elements. Regardless of race, you respect them, make your music accordingly, and don't try to change them for your benefit. I could
stop saying regardless of race, because if you don't acknowledge the black folks within this first, we have a problem from the jump. This is how shit gets diluted and watered down, and we get to say all lives matter.
Yeah. We ain't saying regardless. We ain't saying regardless of race over here. Race doesn't matter. You gotta respect the blackness.
What do you mean by, you said acknowledge though?
First acknowledge, like the thing is acknowledge. This is a black music art form. This is a black culture traditionally that has opened up its doors to a lot of the world. Acknowledge that first. It's so important to me. It's the same rhetoric I'm sure that Toure saw during the political debates about like all lives matter. And it's like that literally was created as a reaction to hearing Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Because
that's important. And that acknowledgement, by saying that, just from what he said, what I agree with, when you say regardless of race, means that like you don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. So you can never say regardless of race because the whole term exists, white rapper, right? You know what term does not exist? Black rapper. Doesn't exist. That's not a term that exists. Oh, he's a black rapper. He's a black rapper. Why'd you say that? Why did you say he's a black rapper? It doesn't exist, guys. And we're gonna end on that shit. Because if you say a rapper, I know what he looks like in my head.
I know he's black. I know he's black.
I'm a black rapper.
I'm a black rapper.
But
we got a super chat before I try to leave. We're trying to eat. I live in
you out here talking about light-skinned rappers. You would say light-skinned rappers.
I'm a black rapper.
They're light-skinned rappers. They need the asterisk. He's a light-skinned rapper.
Guys, we are out. Me and Curtis about to eat. Toure's about to stuff his face with more Oreos, with more Drakes.
Go Lakers.
Drakes. Go Lakers to Cancun.